suppressing the Supreme Holy Sun, crushed them. The Supreme Holy Sun roared. His fist was as heavy as a mountain and it was aimed at Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming saw a huge golden fist pressing down from the sky. The entire space shook violently. Brr. Lu Ming let out a roar that sounded like the roar of an ancient god and swept his spear out. Clang. The long spear and the Supreme Holy Sun's golden fist collided. Terrifying sound waves spread in all directions like water ripples. Buzz. Lu Ming's long spear shook violently as if it was about to be shattered. Lu Ming's 100-meter-tall body trembled and he retreated continuously. Thump. Boom. The 100-meter-tall body stepped on the fighting ring with a loud bang. The fighting ring kept shaking. Lu Ming had to take more than a dozen steps back before he could stabilize himself. Lu Ming, you're defeated. Kneel down. The Supreme Holy Sun roared and looked down at Lu Ming. His huge fists pressed down on Lu Ming, trying to force him to kneel on the ground. Do you think you're the only one who can get bigger? Get bigger too. Get bigger. Get bigger. Lu Ming shouted and his body rapidly grew in size. Lu Ming's body turned into 200 meters tall and the scales all over his body turned green. Lu Ming didn't hold back any longer and immediately turned into a green-armored ancient god. Boom. The spear struck out and clashed with the Supreme Holy Sun. The sky trembled and the two figures retreated. The two of them both retreated a dozen steps. What? Holy Sun, Lu Ming was still holding back earlier. It was really too shocking. Lu Ming's transformation into a green-armored ancient god shocked even more people. Initially, everyone thought that Lu Ming had already reached his limit and could not be any stronger. However, Lu Ming did not seem to have any confidence. As his opponents grew stronger, so did he. The Supreme Holy Sun used the secret technique, Supreme Vajra, and turned into a 200-meter-tall giant. Lu Ming had also transformed into the green-armored ancient god. Damn it! The Supreme Saint roared, his heart trembling. His eyes were filled with fear. Yes, he was deeply shocked by Lu Ming's endless means. He was also afraid. No, I must win today. I must kill this brat. I must kill him. The Supreme Holy Sun roared in his heart, and his eyes revealed a ferocious look. Initially, he was not supposed to kill his opponent in this match. However, he did not care anymore. He had to kill Lu Ming no matter what. With his backing, so what if he killed Lu Ming? Who would punish him for a dead man? Kill? The Supreme Holy Sun roared and waved his fists, charging toward Lu Ming. Kill? Lu Ming was not afraid at all. He charged at the Supreme Holy Sun as well. The two huge figures collided and fought each other. The two of them used all their strength to suppress each other. Boom. Boom. The two of them fought on the fighting ring and then they fought from the fighting ring to the sky. This battle lasted for more than 100 moves. Bang. The Supreme Saint punched Lu Ming's shoulder and penetrated it. Green scales and flesh flew everywhere. However, Lu Ming's long spear had also pierced the Supreme Holy Sun's abdomen, directly piercing through his abdomen and blasting a huge hole. Tragic. The battle was extremely intense. From the start of the battle until now, both of them knew that their combat strength was equal. Only by fighting head-on could they have a chance of winning. It was to see who was more ruthless and had a stronger will. The two of them didn't care about their injuries. Before they could recover, they started fighting again. Next, both of them were hit and their injuries worsened. However, the two of them didn't care. In their eyes, there was only one goal, and that was to defeat their opponents. Lu Ming. At the side of the fighting ring, Ouyang Xiangxiang, Yu Linglong, and the others were watching nervously, their hands tightly clasped together. They naturally hoped that Lu Ming would win. Meanwhile, the Supreme Being and the supporters of the Supreme Saint were also very nervous and hoped that the Supreme Saint would win. Therefore, most of them held their breath and stared at the two figures, waiting for the final result. Damn it, this kid actually has such strong strength. The more the Supreme Saint fought, the more shocked he became. Lu Ming's strength, patience, and ruthlessness had all exceeded his expectations. I will definitely win. My cultivation is at the 6th level of the celestial deity realm and my divine power is strong and condensed. He, on the other hand, is only at the peak of the true God realm. I don't believe that I can't beat him with my divine power. I will exhaust him to death. The Supreme Holy Sun thought to himself. Unfortunately, he was destined to be disappointed. Lu Ming had the measure formula on him and he had stored a large amount of divine power. He was not afraid of anyone. The two of them exchanged more than 200 moves. At this point, the Supreme Holy Sun's divine power was gradually losing, while Lu Ming was still as lively as a dragon and a tiger. This is bad. Lu Ming is a monster. If this goes on, Chen Kuan will be defeated. I must stop him. The Grandmaster felt a sense of foreboding in his heart, and then he roared, "Stop!" Hearing this voice, the Supreme Holy Sun wanted to retreat and stop the battle. However, Lu Ming would not let him retreat so easily. Lu Ming quickly followed, his long spear constantly stabbing at the Supreme Holy Sun, making it impossible for him to retreat. Seeing this, a ferocious look flashed in the Supreme Being's eyes. A powerful aura erupted from his body and pressed down on Lu Ming and the Supreme Holy Sun. He said in a cold voice, "Lu Ming, I told you to back off. Did you not hear me?" However, just as the Supreme Martial Artist's aura was about to burst out, Ouyang Qingxiang's grandfather also moved. He burst out with his aura and cancelled out the Supreme Martial Artist's aura. Therefore, Lu Ming's figure only paused for a moment before he continued to attack the Supreme Holy Sun. "The autarchs are moving? What are you doing? They're having a competition, and no one has the right to interfere in the process." Ouyang Xiangxiang's grandfather, Yu Wuya, coldly said. "Who said I wanted to interfere? I just have something to announce." The Supreme Martial Artist said. "What's the matter? Just tell me." Yu Wuya said coldly. "Today's battle was too brutal. The two of them are still in a draw and both of them are seriously injured. It won't be good for them if this continues. I suggest that we end it with a draw today and fight another day to prevent them from hurting their origin energy." The Supreme Martial Artist said. His eyes glowed with a cunning light. As long as they stopped fighting now, he would have a way to let the Supreme Holy Sun win the next time. He could even make Lu Ming disappear forever so that he would not be able to compete with the Supreme Holy Sun. Haha, what a joke. Old man, you're too shameless. Everyone can see that the Supreme Universe's divine power is running out and he's about to lose, but you actually said it was a draw and said it was for our own good. I spit on you, you're so shameless. Lu Ming was really angry and he cursed. He had seen many shameless people, and Supreme Movement was definitely in the top 5. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Kneel down, Lu Ming, what did you say? What did you just say? Jizun Dong was so angry that his entire body was trembling. His hair and beard were standing on end, and his eyes were burning with rage. Lu Ming actually dared to scold him in front of so many people. This made him furious and he wished he could slap Lu Ming to death. Not only are you shameless but you also have bad hearing. Didn't you hear me when I said you're shameless? Lu Ming did not give the Supreme Being any face and directly mocked him. There was no need for Lu Ming to give face to such a shameless person. Brat, you don't know your place. You're simply going against your superior. They'll kill you. The Supreme Martial Artist roared in anger and slapped Lu Ming. Jizun Dong was a divine king, and his strength was astonishing. With a palm strike, the entire sky darkened, and a palm print covered the sun. However, Yu Wuya was constantly watching the movements of the Supreme Martial Artist. As soon as the Supreme Martial Artist moved, Yu Wuya also made his move. A beam of sword light soared into the sky and slashed towards the palm print of the Supreme Martial Artist. The palm print was directly split apart, and the sword light and the palm print turned invisible. Yu Wuya, what are you doing? This kid is lawless and arrogant. I want to kill him and you want to stop me? Supreme Martial Artist Dong roared. Nonsense. Lu Ming is right. You're so shameless. Can I scold you? In my opinion, he did a good job scolding them and he enjoyed it. What crime is there to be guilty of? Yu Wuya laughed coldly. You, the Grandmaster, was furious. However, this time, those senior statesmen who had previously helped the Supreme Martial Artist did not stand up to help him. Supreme Being Dong was indeed a little shameless. Did he think that the others were fools? It was obvious that Supreme Universe was no match for him and was at a disadvantage. It was simply too shameless for him to announce a draw. The other doyens would never do such a thing. Without any help, the Supreme Martial Artist could no longer do anything. At this time, the battle between Lu Ming and the Supreme Saint was still ongoing. However, Lu Ming had already gained the upper hand. The more they fought, the more the Supreme Saint's divine power was consumed and it was getting harder and harder for him to hold on. However, Lu Ming's attacks were still as fierce as before, like a storm. Bang! Lu Ming's spear swept across the Supreme Being's body. Half of the Supreme Being's body exploded, and blood and flesh flew everywhere. Supreme Martial Artist Dong staggered backward and spat out a mouthful of blood. His body rapidly shrunk to the size of a normal person. He had used up a lot of his divine power and was severely injured. He could no longer maintain his Supreme Vajra body. Now that he had returned to the size of a normal person, his abilities were much weaker and he was no match for Lu Ming. Boom. Lu Ming's long spear pressed down like a mountain range. The Supreme Being used all his strength to resist, but the outcome was already decided. As the spear pressed down, the Supreme Martial Artist's body trembled. "Kneel down," Lu Ming shouted. His divine power gushed toward the spear like a tide, making the spear extremely heavy and constantly pressing down on the Supreme Martial Artist. "No!" the Supreme Saint shouted hysterically. He did not want to kneel, but he could not resist Lu Ming's suppression. Bang! The Supreme Holy Son's body trembled and he knelt on the ground. "CSISI!" gasps rang out in the crowd. Their eyes were filled with deep shock. The Supreme Saint had actually knelt down. He was suppressed by another person and knelt on the ground in front of everyone. If one did not witness this scene with their own eyes, it would be hard for one to believe it. The Supreme Holy Son could be said to be the legend of this generation in the Kongshen sect. He was the strongest prodigy and was considered the best candidate for the future sect leader. He was a figure who could compete with the prodigies of the three overlord forces. But now, such a figure had been defeated by someone, and the person who had defeated him was a new disciple. All of this was simply a legend. "Lu Ming, I'm going to kill you, die." The Supreme Saint's son howled madly. His eyes were blood red as he struggled madly, exuding a terrifying killing intent. "You're just a loser, you're looking for death," Lu Ming said coldly. He took a step forward and beams of spear radiance burst out, piercing the Supreme Holy Son's body, adding to his injuries. At the same time, the spear in his hand continued to press down, pressing the Supreme Saint's son to the ground like a toad. Bus. Then Lu Ming took a step forward and came before the Supreme Holy Son. His body began to shrink to the size of a normal person and he stepped on the Supreme Holy Son's face. The Supreme Saint roared madly. This was a great humiliation and it was even worse than killing him. He was stepped on by Lu Ming in public. "Lu Ming, that's enough." The Grandmaster roared in anger, his eyes revealing a cold killing intent. If Wuxia had not stopped him, he would have already killed Lu Ming. "Old man, you have no right to speak." "That's right, didn't you say just now that if I were to defeat Universe Master your name would be written in reverse? Now what should you be called?" Lu Ming sneered and mocked. "Ah, not bad. Supreme Move." "No, I can't call you Supreme Move now. I should call you Supreme Move." "Aha, this name is really awkward. However, it suits you quite well." Wuxia laughed out loud, extremely carefree. You guys." The Supreme Martial Artist's face was flushed red, and he could not wait to grind Lu Ming's bones into dust. "Alright, that's all for this competition." Right at this moment, the calm voice of the Dragon Boat Mountain rang out. Previously, Dragon Boat Mountain had been watching coldly from the side. Now that everything was over, they finally stood up and spoke. Dragon Boat Mountain spoke. Supreme Movement and Wuxia coldly looked at each other, snorted, and retreated. "Get lost." Lu Ming chuckled and kicked the Supreme Holy Son in the face, sending him flying. Lu Ming was the only one left on the fighting ring. "Alright, according to the rules, Lu Ming is the winner of this round," Dragon Boat Mountain announced. "Alright." At the side of the fighting ring, some people were cheering loudly. They all belonged to Lu Ming's faction and Ouyang Qingxiang's faction. Especially Yu Linglong, Wu Zifeng and the others, they shouted especially loudly and were very excited. The people from the Supreme Saint Sun's faction, the Floating Light Saint Sun's faction, the Jixia Saint Sun's faction, the Yenkong Saint Sun's faction, and the Shuetan Saint Daughter's faction all looked terrible. Some people had gloomy expressions, some were sighing, and some were already thinking about how to seek new support. According to the previous rules, Lu Ming was the one who helped Ouyang Qingxiang in the contest. Therefore, since Ouyang Qingxiang is the winner this time, I hereby announce that Ouyang Qingxiang is the future Zongzi and my successor. The Dragon Boat's Mountain announced once again. The scene suddenly fell silent as everyone's eyes were focused on Ouyang Qingxiang. "Congratulations, Ouyang Zongzi." Lu Ming stood on the fighting ring and cupped his fists. "Congratulations, Ouyang Zongzi." Then those from Ouyang Qingxiang's faction and Lu Ming's faction congratulated Ouyang Qingxiang. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Dragon Boat Mountain's goal. As for the other factions, they unwillingly congratulated Ouyang Qingxiang. After the congratulations, Dragon Boat Mountain announced that they would hold a conferment ceremony for Ouyang Qingxiang, and the entire sect celebrated. As for Ji Zundong and the others, they had already left with the Supreme Saint Sun. The title ceremony lasted for 3 days before it ended. After this incident, Lu Ming's reputation had reached its peak. It had even surpassed the Zhongzi Ouyang Qingxiang. Everyone knew that Lu Ming was very talented. Even if he was not a Zhongzi, he would definitely be the true overlord of Kongshen sect in the future. Even if Ouyang Qingxiang really became the sect leader, her influence would not be higher than Lu Ming's. Therefore, in the days that followed, a large number of people began to join Lu Ming's faction. Although Lu Ming did not become a Zhongzi, the power of his sect grew stronger and stronger. Of course, there were also many who sided with Ouyang Xiangxiang. After all, she was a Zhongzi who would be in charge of the Kongshen sect in the future. In just half a year, a large number of people had sought refuge with Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. Many of these people belonged to the other holy sons and holy virgins. The two's forces had skyrocketed and had far surpassed the Supreme Holy Sun and the Transient Light Holy Sun. Just like that, another few years passed. These few years, Lu Ming had been focused on cultivation and polishing his foundation. It was worth mentioning that Qiu Yu's progress was lightning fast. She had broken through 2 realms in a row and was not far from the 9th stage of True God. As for Qiu, ever since it had devoured the bronze altar fragment in the ancient God world, it had been in a deep sleep and had not woken up. On this day, Lu Ming was cultivating when he suddenly opened his eyes. Immediately after, runes appeared on his body. They were densely packed and slithered around his body like small snakes. Dark Dragon Blood Curse, is Dragon Boat Mountain summoning me? Lu Ming frowned. The Dark Dragon Blood Curse had always been a big issue in his heart. Senior Bone Demon, you still haven't thought of a way to break the Dark Dragon Blood Curse? Lu Ming consulted the Bone Demon. A few years ago, Lu Ming had asked the Bone Demon for advice on how to break the Dark Dragon Blood Curse. However, the Bone Demon did not give him any effective methods. It's difficult. This Dark Dragon Blood Curse is extremely mysterious. The sect leader of your Kongshen sect is definitely not ordinary. I'm afraid he has a big secret on him. Bone Demon's figure appeared on the scroll. Is there really no other way? Lu Ming muttered. It's a pity that I don't have any cultivation at all right now. Otherwise I would have a way. Besides, I don't know the purpose of the Dragon Boat's blood curse on you. If I knew his purpose, I could also prescribe the right medicine and come up with a way to break it. Bone said. Lu Ming nodded. The only thing they could do now was to wait. After a while, the dark dragon blood curse on his body gradually faded away. At this moment, someone came to Lu Ming's courtyard. Holy Son Lu Ming, the sect master has invited you? The person who had just arrived was an inner court elder, and his voice was transmitted into the courtyard. All right. Lu Ming walked out of the courtyard, nodded and followed the old man. Not long after, he came to a large hall and the old man retreated. In the main hall, the Dragon Boat Mountain was waiting. Once Lu Ming arrived, the dragon boats sized him up carefully. The more they sized him up, the more satisfied they were. Dragon Boat Mountain, why did you ask someone to look for me? Lu Ming asked with a sullen face. He didn't have a good attitude towards Dragon Boat Mountain. Not bad, not bad. Lu Ming, the speed of your improvement has exceeded my expectations. Good, very good. Dragon Boat Mountain nodded repeatedly. You didn't ask me to come just to praise me, did you? Lu Ming said coldly. Of course not. What I want to say is that your cultivation speed is still too slow. Now I'll give you 10 years. Within 10 years you must reach the Heavenly God realm. Otherwise, he'll activate the Dark Dragon Blood Curse and kill you. Do you understand? Dragon Boat Mountain suddenly said with a cold expression. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with killing intent. His cultivation speed was already extremely shocking, but the Dragon Boat's master still thought that he was slow and wanted him to break through to the Heavenly God stage within 10 years. This was almost impossible. From True God Realm to Celestial God Realm, there was a huge gap. Countless people were blocked on this gap, unable to cross it in their lifetime. Even some geniuses would need a long time to break through as well as luck. Breaking through to the Celestial Deity Realm in 10 years, time was virtually something impossible. How is it possible to break through to the Heavenly God level in 10 years? Lu Ming said coldly. Lu Ming, this is your only option. If you can't do it, you'll die. Dragon Boat Mountain sneered. Creak, Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. If not for the fact that he was not a match for the Dragon Boat Mountain, he would have killed them on the spot. Lu Ming, find out the reason why he placed the Dark Dragon Blood Curse on you. At this moment, the Bone Demon's voice was transmitted into Lu Ming's spiritual sense. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, but he did not show it on his face. He looked coldly at the dragon boats and said, Dragon Boat Mountain, what's your purpose in casting the Dark Dragon Blood Curse on me? You don't need to know about this. Dragon Boat Mountain waved his hand. Dragon Boat Mountain, you don't dare to tell me your goal? I reckon that your goal is to harm me. If my guess is correct, after I break through to the heavenly deity stage, it will be of great use to you. As for me, it's very likely that I'll die. I'm going to die anyway. Rather than waiting to be used by you to death, I might as well be killed by you now so that I won't fulfill your wish. Lu Ming said coldly. You dare? Dragon Boat Mountain coldly shouted. What's there to be afraid of? At worst, I'll just die. Lu Ming shouted loudly, and a violent aura burst out from his body. He looked like he was going to fight to the death with the dragon boat. All right, I'll tell you. Dragon Boat Mountain frowned and raised his hand. A powerful force dispersed Lu Ming's aura as he spoke coldly. Lu Ming's aura descended. Lu Ming, you're right. After you've broken through to the heavenly god level, I do need your help. There's no harm in telling you, I placed the dark dragon blood curse on you to nurture it. The stronger your cultivation is, the stronger the dark dragon blood curse will be. When you break through to the celestial god realm, the dark dragon blood curse in your body will be extremely powerful. I can use it to break a formation. Dragon Boat Mountain said. What formation? Lu Ming continued asking. Dragon Boat Mountain frowned, but he soon smiled and said, Rising Dragon Array. Alright, I've told you everything I need to tell you. Go on and work hard. Remember, you only have 10 years. If you can't break through to the heavenly god realm in 10 years, there's no point in keeping you alive. A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He then turned around and left. As they watched Lu Ming leave, the Dragon Boat Mountain's eyes flashed with ferocity. Kid, you want to know my goal and find a way to break it? However, what's the use of knowing my purpose? Hurry up and break through. When you reach the heavenly god realm, I'll regain my freedom. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2878 Searching for Materials. The dragon boat's sinister laughter reverberated in the Great Hall. Lu Ming had already left the Great Hall and quickly returned to his residence. Senior Bone Demon, do you know of the Rising Dragon Array? Lu Ming asked the Bone Demon as soon as he came back. Of course I know the Rising Dragon Array. Ha, so it's the Rising Dragon Array. I know what that kid is going to do. Bone laughed. Senior Bone Demon, do you know the true purpose of the Dragon Boat Mountain? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he asked. That's right. If I'm not wrong, the reason why the Dragon Boat Mountain placed the Dark Dragon Blood Curse in your body was to use you to refine the Dark Dragon Blood Curse and then use it to save someone who was trapped in the Rising Dragon formation. And I'm guessing that your sect master is no longer the real person. Bone said. It's not the real person? Lu Ming was surprised. That's right. His own soul has probably been destroyed long ago. Now his body is occupied by someone else. If I'm not wrong, the person who occupied his body is the existence trapped by the Rising Dragon Array. He wants to use you to escape and regain his freedom. Once he succeeds, you will also die. Bone analyzed the situation clearly, as if he had seen through everything. It's actually like this. Lu Ming was stunned by the Bone Demon's analysis. Unexpectedly, the real Dragon Boat Mountain had already died long ago. The current Dragon Boat Mountain was only in existence whose body had been occupied by someone else. As expected, he didn't have good intentions. Lu Ming's gaze was cold. The Dragon Boat Mountain's goal was indeed to sacrifice him to save him. Senior Bone Demon, do you have any countermeasures? Lu Ming asked. Since I know his goal, I naturally have a plan to deal with it. We still have 10 years. Lu Ming, do as I say. First, we need to buy some materials and refine an array disc. Then we'll fight him. The Bone Demon said. Then, a series of material names appeared in Lu Ming's mind. These materials? Lu Ming was stunned. He had not heard of many of the materials that the Bone Demon had mentioned. Kid, hurry up and get these materials. Bone said. Lu Ming nodded and left the place. He also left Kong Xian sect and headed towards Planet Thousand Spirits. Myriad Spirit Star was the gathering place of the entire Qin Tian Starfield's Chamber of Commerce. All kinds of strange materials could be bought here. After arriving on Planet Thousand Spirits, Lu Ming finally bought most of the materials he needed after many inquiries. However, there were still 3 kinds of materials that he had not bought. These 3 materials were extremely rare and precious. The 3 materials were the 9-clawed divine dragon's bone, the evil energy stone, and the desolate chaotic grass. The bone of a 9-clawed divine dragon? Where can we find it? Senior 9 Dragon has long passed away. Lu Ming furrowed his eyebrows. I wonder if the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron contains the bones of a nine-clawed divine dragon? Lu Ming suddenly thought of the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron. The Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron had been forged by the nine dragons and the ancestral dragon with all their strength. It was just a little bit away from being promoted to a divine artifact, and was the natal magic weapon of the nine dragons. Natal Dharma treasures were usually forged from one's own flesh, blood, and bones in order to display their strongest power. Back in the Heaven Realm, the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron had been of great help to Lu Ming. However, ever since Lu Ming came to the primeval universe, his combat strength had skyrocketed. The Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron was no longer of any use to him. However, Lu Ming had never thrown it away. Instead, he had kept it. At this moment, Lu Ming waved his hand and the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron flew out from a storage ring. Senior Bone Demon, take a look at these 9 cauldrons. Do they contain the bones of a 9-clawed divine dragon? Lu Ming consulted the Bone Demon. The Bone Demon flew out from between Lu Ming's eyebrows and stopped above the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron. It studied it carefully. That's right. The 9 cauldrons contain the bones of the 9-clawed true dragon. The bones of the 9-clawed divine dragon are the foundation of the 9 cauldrons. Bone nodded. It really is. Lu Ming was also very surprised. He had only been guessing before, but he didn't expect it to come true. One could imagine that the 9 dragons had paid a huge price in order to refine this huge cauldron, and they had actually used their own bone armor to forge it. Lu Ming was overjoyed. In this case, Lu Ming was only left with 2 of the 3 most difficult materials to find. Lu Ming came to a place that was specially used to gather information. After some inquiries and paying a high price, Lu Ming finally found out the whereabouts of the last 2 materials. The Evil Profound Stone is in an evil clan in the Rushing Void Galaxy. I'll go to that clan first. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Then Lu Ming took the teleportation array and rushed to the Rushing Void Galaxy. On the surface, the Luo family of the virtual galaxy was a normal cultivation family. However, they were actually an evil family. Their cultivation technique was extremely evil. They specialized in digging out the eyes of other cultivators to cultivate their evil technique. Lu Ming had also paid a huge price to find out this information from the organization that was investigating. Such a family doesn't need to exist anymore. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. After a long journey, Lu Ming arrived at the Luo family's residence. Boom. Lu Ming appeared in the sky above the Luo family's residence, his vast aura erupting. Who dares to appear in the sky above my Luo family? With a loud shout, a few strong men flew out. These few brawny men had peak true god cultivation bases. When they saw that Lu Ming was also peak true god cultivation bases, they instantly revealed ferocious expressions. Kid, who are you? Tell me the truth or you won't be able to leave. One of the burly men shouted. He stared at Lu Ming's eyes with an evil and greedy look. He wanted to dig out Lu Ming's eyeballs to cultivate. The person who will kill you, Lu Ming said coldly. Then a violent divine power surged towards the other party. Lu Ming's divine power was extremely strong. To the few burly men, it was simply a perilous situation. The divine power crushed over and the few burly men screamed in pain. Their bodies were crushed by Lu Ming's divine power and finally turned into ashes and dissipated in the air. He was also at the peak of true god. However, the other peak true gods were like ants in front of Lu Ming. How dare you kill my Luo family's people? A mere true god realm, you're looking for death. Kill him. At this moment, the entire Luo family was in an uproar. Powerful auras shot up into the sky. Powerful figures rushed up into the sky and headed for Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's expression was calm. He had long inquired about it. In the Luo family, the strongest was only a 4th-level celestial deity. There were only about 30 heavenly god-level powerhouses in total. Lu Ming did not take them to heart at all. Brr. Ancient god body. Lu Ming roared. He used his ancient god body and turned into a giant ancient god, charging at the Luo family experts. As the long spear was swung, a large number of Luo family experts exploded and died on the spot. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. The desolate mountains. The Luo family's experts were completely vulnerable to Lu Ming. A moment later, Lu Ming left the Luo residence with a cold expression on his face. The Luo residence had already turned into a sea of fire and had been trampled flat. All the experts of the Luo family had been killed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming would not show any mercy to this evil family. In the Luo family's core treasury, Lu Ming successfully found an evil eye stone. The Evil Eye Stone was the Luo family's clan treasure, and it was easy to find. In this way only the last type of desolate grass was left. The desolate grass was found in the desolate mountain range where the Stellar River was. This was an extremely special mountain range. This mountain range wasn't located on a certain planet. Instead, it was the entire mountain range floating in the universe. The mountain range was incomparably huge, and there were extremely terrifying domains on it. No matter what creature entered, it would be difficult for them to fly and would suffer great pressure. However, the desolate mountains were rich in resources and had many precious divine herbs. The desolate grass was an extremely rare and precious divine grass. Even in the desolate mountain range, it was very rare and valuable. It was a treasure that could not be bought with money. Therefore, many cultivators would come here to explore and search for treasures. Lu Ming sat on the starry sky warship and flew in the vast starry sky. A huge mountain range appeared in front of him. From a distance, it looked like a giant dragon was circling in the universe. The vast universe is truly wondrous, Lu Ming sighed. At this moment, Lu Ming noticed that there were streams of light flying toward the desolate mountains from other directions like meteors. Of course, these weren't meteors but experts. Some of them sat on the space battleships while others flew. To be able to use one's body to travel through the universe, one had to be at least a heavenly god. But all of a sudden, a figure flew rapidly from behind Lu Ming's warship. It was a burly man. He was very strong and muscular. He had a ferocious look. Get lost, you're just like an ant. Don't block the way. When the burly man passed by Lu Ming, he struck his palm at Lu Ming's interplanetary warship. Thump. The starry sky battleship was hit, and it trembled violently before flying out. Ha! The burly man laughed, glanced at Lu Ming in disdain and then left. In his opinion, a person on an interplanetary warship was most likely below the level of a heavenly god. He didn't care at all. This guy, Lu Ming's gaze turned cold as he watched the burly man leave. In the end he did not make a move. He continued to control the starship and flew towards the desolate mountain range. Why are there so many people? Lu Ming sized up his surroundings and revealed a strange look. Outside the huge desolate mountain range, there were many experts of different races floating in the air. The number was shocking. At a glance, there were no less than 10,000 people. In the past, although there were people who came to the desolate mountain range to search for treasures, there were never this many people. As they neared the desolate mountains, Lu Ming left the starry sky battleship and floated in the starry sky. Senior, may I ask what happened here? Why are there so many people? Lu Ming came to the side of a white-haired elder and asked with cupped fists. The others were not too surprised. Stage 9 True God Realm experts could already stay in the universe for a period of time. However, they couldn't cross the universe and fly from one planet to another. You don't know. The old man looked at Lu Ming in surprise. I don't know. Lu Ming shook his head. There's no harm in telling you. Recently, I heard that the Heart of Desolation has appeared in the desolate mountain range. That's why so many people have been attracted here. These people are all here to find the Heart of Desolation. The old man smiled, looking very familiar. The Heart of Desolation? Lu Ming had a puzzled look on his face. He had never heard of the Heart of Desolation. The Heart of Desolation. There's actually a Heart of Desolation here. Ah. The heavens are on my side. No, the heavens are on your side. Lu Ming, you must get the Heart of Desolation. The Heart of Desolation can completely replace the desolation grass, and its effects are several times better. The formation discs refined from it will be even more powerful. That way, our chances of success will be greater. After hearing about the Heart of Desolation, Bone laughed out loud in excitement. It's actually several times better than the desolate grass. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with intense anticipation. He had to succeed in dealing with Dragon Boat Mountain this time. Therefore, he had to obtain the Heart of Desolation. Young man, there are a lot of experts here. I can see that you're only at the peak of True God Realm. How about we form a team and go into the desolate mountain range to explore? The old man suggested. Form a team. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. That's right. Look, the others are also forming teams. I'm afraid it'll be very dangerous to enter the mountain range alone. The old man pointed to the front. Lu Ming looked ahead. There were already many people entering the desolate mountain range. They were all in groups of 3 to 5. All right. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and nodded. This elder's cultivation was only at the 3rd level celestial deity realm. Lu Ming did not think much of him. However, the desolate mountain range was extremely huge. If he were to search for the Heart of Desolation alone, it would undoubtedly be like looking for a needle in a haystack. If he were to form a team with others, at least the chances of finding the Heart of Desolation would be higher. That's great. Then let's find some more people and form a team to go in. The old man smiled and then went to greet the others. Not long after, the old man found another 6 people to form a team. The 6 of them were all at heavenly god level cultivation. Lu Ming was the only true god level. Sankei, why did you find a true god realm expert to go with us? If such a person goes in, wouldn't he be a burden to us? A woman in her 30s cast a cold glance at Lu Ming and said unhappily. This woman had an extremely seductive look and an amazing figure. However, she had an arrogant look on her face and looked down on Lu Ming. This little brother is a friend of mine. Everyone, please give this old man some face and let this little brother come along. The old man's name was Sankei and he said with a smile. Since he's your friend Sankei, I can give him face. But I have to say this first. After entering the desolate mountain range, if we encounter any danger, I won't care about him. We can't be dragged down by a true god realm trash. The seductive woman said. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He could not be bothered to argue with the other party. This woman was only a first-level celestial deity. Who knew what kind of mentality she had, looking down on a true god realm expert? The rest of them only cast an indifferent glance at Lu Ming and ignored him. To them, it was just a real god and they didn't need to care about him. If they were in danger, they could just abandon him. Good. Sankei laughed apologetically. The group of 8 then flew towards the desolate mountain range. Chapter 2881 Ill Intentions. There were extremely powerful domains in the desolate mountain range. The closer one was to the front, the stronger the domain. Therefore, if he wanted to enter the mountain range, he would have to enter from the rear end. After entering the mountain range, the effect of the domain would be greatly reduced. This way, he could slowly go deeper into the mountain range along the mountain range. Therefore, everyone entered the mountain range from the back. Lu Ming's group of 8 flew in from the rear. As soon as they entered the desolate mountain range, Lu Ming felt a powerful domain acting on his body, almost dragging him down the mountain range. They hurriedly circulated their divine power to resist the domains of the outside world and slowly descended to the ground. They had just landed when a loud roar rang out. It was a desolate beast. In the desolate mountain range there were also many wild beasts. Some of the wild beasts were very strong, but this wild beast only had the strength of a 9th stage true god. A mere true god realm trying to sneak attack? You're looking for death. The seductive woman shouted coldly. A sword light flashed and cut the wild beast in half. Then, she glanced at Lu Ming coldly as if to say that it was useless to see it. True god-level experts were so vulnerable. Lu Ming could not be bothered with this woman. In Lu Ming's heart, this woman was an idiot. Being ignored by Lu Ming, a cold glint flashed in the seductive woman's eyes. A mere true god actually dared to ignore her. He really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Follow me, Sankei said and then walked in one direction. The group followed Sankei. Along the way they were attacked by wild beasts from time to time. However, the level of the wild beasts here was not very high. Most of them were below the heavenly god realm. There were not many of them who had reached the heavenly god realm. They were not a threat to Lu Ming and the group and were easily killed. Half a day later they were millions of miles deep into the mountain range. At this point, the domains of the desolate mountain range were already extremely astonishing. The pressure was getting greater and greater. At this point, let alone flying, even circulating divine power was somewhat difficult. At this time they came to a huge valley. At this point Sankei suddenly stopped. Sankei, why are you not moving? Do you even know where the Heart of Desolation is? One of the burly men asked. Hee. Sankei let out a few strange laughs and swept his gaze across Lu Ming and the rest of the 7 people. I don't know where the Heart of Desolation is, but I do know that you're going to die soon, hee. Among the 7 of them, apart from Lu Ming, everyone's expression changed. Sankei, what do you mean? What are you trying to do? The seductive woman glared at Sankei. What are you doing? It's very simple, hand over all your treasures and I can leave your corpses intact. Otherwise, I can only feed you to the wild beasts. Sankei sneered. Sankei, you brought us here with ill intentions indeed. However, it's a little ridiculous that you think you can kill us. One of the burly men was much calmer than before. He spoke coldly and emitted a powerful aura. 4th level celestial deity. This burly man was a 4th level celestial deity realm, even higher than Sank's 3rd level celestial deity realm. The burly man's powerful aura pressed down on Sankei, but Sank's expression did not change at all. In fact, the killing intent in its eyes became even stronger. All of you come out. Sankei called out. Bus, bus, and NBSP whoosh. As Sank's voice rang out, a few figures suddenly rushed out of the valley. There were a total of 11 figures. They moved at an astonishing speed, like a stream of light. In a few flashes they had surrounded Lu Ming and the rest. Sankei, you set up an ambush here, you tricked us. Damn it. The seductive woman, the burly man, and the others all shouted with a crazed expression. At this time, no matter how stupid they were, they also understood what was going on. When Sankei asked them to form a team, it was a complete trap. He had already planned to let the others lie in ambush here to kill and steal. They had been tricked. It's him. Lu Ming's expression was very calm. However, when he saw one of the burly men, a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. The burly man was the one who attacked Lu Ming's warship from the Starry Sky battleship. At that time, Lu Ming did not pay much attention to it. He did not expect to meet this burly man again. Moreover, he was robbing him with Sankei and the rest. He had to admit that enemies were really bound to meet on a narrow road. Hand over all your treasures so we don't have to do it ourselves, Sankei sneered. However, no one had moved. Who would hand over their treasures so easily? Why are you talking so much nonsense with them? Just kill them directly to avoid any more trouble. The burly man who had attacked Lu Ming earlier shouted coldly, exuding a powerful aura. This burly man also had a 4th-level celestial deity cultivation. In reality, there were a total of 6 4th-level celestial deity existences in this group. On the other hand, Lu Ming and the rest only had a 4th-level celestial deity. The difference was too great. You want me to hand over the treasure? Dream on. On Lu Ming's side, the 4th-level celestial deity existence roared loudly and burst out with all his strength, charging to the side. Boom. He punched out and his aura exploded, crushing forward. He wanted to kill a path of blood and escape. You're looking for death. A few experts from the other side shouted coldly and attacked the burly man at the same time. These few people were all 4th-level celestial deity powerhouses. They joined forces to charge towards that burly man, displaying a terrifying killing move. It was impossible to fight against 3 people alone. 2 of their attacks landed on the burly man's body. The burly man let out a blood-curdling scream and was sent flying. He spat out a large mouthful of blood and was already half dead. The seductive woman and the others' faces were as white as snow, without a trace of blood. The strongest among them had almost been killed in one move. They had even less hope now. Many people revealed looks of despair. Brother Sankei, brothers, as long as you don't kill me, he'll give you anything you want. The seductive woman had a charming smile on her face. She swayed her slender waist and looked at Sankei and the others with her charming eyes. Bitch, get lost. This move of yours is ineffective against us. Attack and kill them. Sankei shouted coldly. In their line of work, they would never leave anyone alive, no matter how coquettish the seductive woman was. Boom. Boom. Sankei and the others immediately attacked. Brat, I'll be the first to send you on your way. Sank's eyes glowed coldly as he stared at Lu Ming. He was the first to charge at Lu Ming. His blood-red claws were aimed at Lu Ming's heart. However, after a cold light flashed, Sank's body froze. His eyes were wide open, revealing a look of disbelief. His heart had been pierced by a spear. This long spear was naturally thrust by Lu Ming. Chapter 2881 Origin Energy Path. You? Sankei looked at Lu Ming in disbelief. Then it looked extremely frightened. He had never expected that Lu Ming, who was only at the 9th stage of True God Realm, would attack so quickly. He did not even see clearly how Lu Ming attacked, and the long spear in Lu Ming's hand had already pierced his heart. He knew that he had encountered a terrifying heaven's favorite, a heaven's favorite whose combat strength could not be measured by cultivation. Spare. My life. Blood kept oozing out of Sank's mouth as it tried to beg for Lu Ming's mercy. Let's go, Lu Ming said coldly. With a shake of the long spear, Sank's body was torn into pieces and he died on the spot. Brat, you're looking for death. The burly man who had attacked Lu Ming's interplanetary warship earlier roared and charged toward Lu Ming. His 4th-level celestial deity aura crushed towards Lu Ming violently, wanting to kill him. Divine Dragon Phenomenon. A deep voice came out of Lu Ming's mouth. Then 2 9-clawed divine dragons appeared in the sky. The 9-clawed divine dragons slithered and pounced toward the other party. The 2 9-clawed divine dragons had 18 claws in total. They tore through the air with astonishing power. The burly man's expression changed drastically. His palm turned pitch black as he continued to slash out to clash with the 9-clawed divine dragon's claws. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying collisions continued to ring out. In an instant they had exchanged dozens of blows. The burly man's expression changed drastically as he retreated. Blood spurted from his mouth as he was severely injured. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, even if he did not transform into the ancient god body, the power of the battle formula would be terrifying. It was not something that the other party could withstand. Roar. The two 9-clawed divine dragons roared and continued to pounce at each other. Their dragon claws tore down and tore each other into pieces. How is that possible? Lu Ming had killed 2 experts in a row. The others were finally shocked. They exclaimed one after another, their faces full of disbelief. At first, they thought that Lu Ming was only at true god level and did not take him seriously at all. At this moment, Lu Ming's unbelievable combat strength made them extremely frightened. Good. The seductive woman and the others were also at a loss for words at first, but they immediately revealed ecstatic expressions. Lu Ming actually had such strong combat abilities. They were saved. Kill. Lu Ming changed his direction and shouted. Another 9-clawed divine dragon appeared in the sky. A total of 3 9-clawed divine dragons pounced on the others. At the same time, Lu Ming waved his long spear and cast the 3 apocalyptic strikes at another person. The crescent-shaped spear light struck down and a 4th-level heavenly god expert was split into 2. Then, the 3 9-clawed divine dragons joined forces and killed the other 4th-level heavenly god. It was a complete suppression. Go, quickly leave. The others were shocked and retreated in all directions. Lu Ming rushed forward and killed 2 more people. He did not continue to pursue them. Soon those people disappeared into the vast mountains. The seductive woman and the rest looked at Lu Ming with eyes full of shock and horror. They knew that they had met a peerless genius. Lu Ming, thank you for your help just now. I can't thank you enough. The few of them thanked Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you're really amazing. I was wrong about you. I apologize to you. The seductive woman turned her gaze and smiled sweetly. She twisted her slender waist and walked toward Lu Ming. She even threw him flirtatious looks as if she was trying to seduce him. Lu Ming cast an indifferent glance at the other party. He could not be bothered to say a word and turned to leave. This woman had a snobbish look on her face. Previously, when she saw that Lu Ming's cultivation was only at true god level, she ridiculed him. Now that Lu Ming had revealed his amazing abilities, she immediately came to Lu Ming. It could be said that he was extremely shameless. Brother Lu Ming, where are you going? I'll go with you. The seductive woman quickly followed Lu Ming. Get lost. Lu Ming turned around and shouted coldly. His eyes were sharp and exuded a cold, killing intent. The seductive woman's face turned pale and she stopped in her tracks, not daring to approach. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he turned into a ray of light, leaving the place. This Lu Ming must be from the Qin Heaven 13 clans. He might even be a peerless genius from the 3 overlords. We've been wrong. That's right. People like you have very high standards. You're delusional to think that you can seduce others with your kind. The others looked at the seductive woman with ridicule, making the seductive woman so ashamed that she wanted to bleed. After Lu Ming set out alone, he headed straight into the depths of the desolate mountain range. Along the way there were more scares than dangers. Not long after, Lu Ming was already halfway into the desolate mountain range. At this moment, Lu Ming noticed that there were people constantly rushing in one direction. Lu Ming's gaze flickered and he followed in that direction. After flying for a while, a lake appeared in front of them. Many people were gathered around the lake. Everyone was staring at the lake. Could it be that the heart of desolation is here? Lu Ming pondered. Voila! The water in the lake churned and the waves rose to the sky, creating thousands of waves. Then a shocking scene appeared. A violent explosion suddenly erupted from the bottom of the lake, blasting the water in the entire lake into the sky. The lake water splashed everywhere, revealing a dark cave below. Boom, boom, boom. Tentacles suddenly reached out from the bottom of the cave. However, these tentacles weren't the tentacles of a living being. They were made of energy. After they were waved, they were like paths that paved the sky. There were a total of 81 fish. This is the path of vital qi, and the heart of desolation is inside. Only by stepping on the path of vital qi can one enter the cave and obtain the heart of desolation. Someone shouted. The heart of desolation is mine, let's go. Immediately, some people rushed towards the path of origin energy and landed steadily on it. Why can't I step on it? He asked. I can't either. I understand now. A Yuan Qi path can only accommodate one person. Once one person steps on it, the other person can't go up. Someone saw through the trick. Once one person in front of them stepped onto the path of vital qi, if others wanted to continue, they would be blocked by a powerful force and be stopped outside the path. One path of vital qi could only accommodate one person. There were a total of 81 paths and only 81 people could enter the cave. However, there were thousands of people here. Out of thousands of people, only 81 people could enter. After thinking this through, everyone's eyes shone with a fiery light and they immediately made their moves. This path is mine, get lost. Someone exploded and launched a powerful attack at the person who stepped on the road. Although they couldn't enter, there was no obstruction to attack from the outside. Arg! A blood-curdling screech rang out. One of the vital qi paths, a person with insufficient cultivation, was directly killed, and fresh blood splattered onto the vital qi path. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2882 Snatching a Path. A chaotic battle broke out. Thousands of people charged towards the 81 Yuan Qi paths and began a bloody battle. Get lost, this road is mine. You're the one who should get lost, die. The heart of desolation was extremely precious. Many people's eyes turned red as they charged towards the 81 paths of vital qi. Blood splattered everywhere and miserable cries rang out continuously. People were constantly killed. A large number of True God Realm experts died in an instant. The remaining True God Realm experts finally sobered up a little and retreated in fear, withdrawing from the fight. They understood that with their cultivation they could not compete with the gods at all. Otherwise they would only die. However, there were still a lot of heavenly god-level figures, and the battle was even more intense. But among them, some people's cultivation was extremely profound, reaching 7th level celestial deity. 7th level celestial deity absolutely belonged to the top existences among these people. Divine power was like a tide. With a punch, a few people were killed. No one could stop it at all. There were more than a dozen of such people, and they directly occupied more than a dozen paths of vital qi. In addition, some 6th level celestial deity existences were also extremely terrifying. They suppressed everyone and also occupied some vital qi paths. The ones with the most competition were some 5th or 4th level heavenly deities. There were many people with such cultivation, more than 81 of them. They knew that they couldn't compete with those 6th or 7th level heavenly deities, so they gathered on the other paths of vital qi and the competition was very intense. Lu Ming did not make a move at first. After a while he flew toward one of the essence qi paths. This True God Realm brat actually dares to go up. He's really looking for death. You're too greedy, you won't live long. When some True God level figures saw Lu Ming, they mocked him one after another, waiting to watch a good show. Lu Ming's speed was very fast and he had already arrived at the intersection of the path of vitality. A True God Realm kid also came to join in the fun. He's looking for death. A burly man at the celestial deity realm threw a punch at Lu Ming, creating a terrifying whistling sound. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted coldly and activated the fourfold combat power of the battle formula. His long spear vibrated and he lashed out at his opponent. The spear collided with the fist, causing a violent boom. The fist force of the burly man was instantly destroyed. His body trembled violently and he was forced to retreat, spitting out a large mouthful of blood. How is that possible? The others were dumbfounded. In particular, those True God level people who ridiculed Lu Ming were dumbfounded. This kid, a True God Realm, actually has such strong power. Kill him first. An elder shouted and charged at Lu Ming with a violent aura. This person was shockingly a 5th level celestial deity. Get lost, Lu Ming shouted and stepped forward. With every step he took, a 9-clawed divine dragon would appear above his head. After 3 steps, 3 9-clawed divine dragons had appeared above his head. The 3 9-clawed divine dragons roared furiously as they charged toward each other. At the same time, 9 ice chains appeared on Lu Ming's body and wrapped around his opponent, emitting a shocking cold air. Before he transformed into the ancient god body, Lu Ming had to use all his strength to fight against a 5th level celestial god. 3 apocalyptic strikes, moon-cutting. He held the spear with both hands and struck out 3 times. 3 crescent-shaped spear lights slashed toward the other party. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them collided and fought fiercely. For a time it was difficult to separate. However, the others took the opportunity to rush toward the path of vital qi. Kid, I'm done fighting with you. After exchanging a blow with Lu Ming, the elder retreated and charged towards a path of vital qi. Lu Ming followed suit and engaged in a chaotic battle with the others. On this path, there were 3 5th-level celestial deities and 4 4th-level celestial deities. Including Lu Ming, 8 people were engaged in an intense battle. Those below the 4th-level celestial deity realm did not have much competition power at all and were unable to join the battle. The 8 people's battle royale turned into a chaotic pot of porridge. A few 4th-level celestial deity could still hold on a few times at the start, but very soon they could not hold on anymore. One of them was struck in a vital part by a 5th-level celestial deity powerhouse and died on the spot. Moon slaying. Lu Ming's attack also severely injured a 4th-level celestial deity. The remaining 4th-level celestial deities retreated with grave expressions. There were only 3 4th-level celestial deities left on this path. Including Lu Ming, they were still fighting. Lu Ming had no intention of using the ancient god body. The ancient god body was his trump card and he could not use it easily. After all, there would be even more terrifying competition after he passed through this path of vitality. If they really encountered the Heart of Desolation, a bloody battle would be inevitable. Lu Ming only cast various divine skills as well as 2 secret skills, the Ice Chain and the Divine Dragon Materialization Technique, to fight with the enemy. Such a huge battle consumed a lot of their divine power. After hundreds of moves, the divine power of the others was almost exhausted. However, Lu Ming was still full of energy. Lu Ming began to gain the upper hand. And at this time, those 7th-level and 6th-level celestial deities already entered the depths of the cave. The other 3 were getting anxious. This kid is too strange. He has the true God realm cultivation base, but he has such thick God power. Why don't the 3 of us join hands to defeat him? Then we can decide the winner. What do you think? The other 3 5th-level heavenly gods planned to join forces to deal with Lu Ming first. The 3 of them had the same intention and they hit it off. The 3 of them immediately joined forces and attacked Lu Ming. I originally wanted to keep a trump card, but I'll fulfill your wish now. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. Then his body expanded rapidly. He began to cast the ancient god tactic and transformed into the ancient god body. However, Lu Ming did not use the ancient god tactic with all his might, nor did he transform into a green-armored ancient god. He had only transformed into the 2nd level, the orange-armored ancient god. He was only about 30 meters tall. This way he could save a lot of physical strength. Even after transforming into an orange-armored ancient god, Lu Ming's strength had increased by a large margin. He waved his long spear and sent a 5th-level celestial deity elder flying. Kill? Lu Ming strode forward and attacked the elder. Violent attacks poured down on the elder like a storm. How is that possible? The old man was shocked and tried his best to resist, but he could not stop Lu Ming. After barely blocking, he was killed by Lu Ming with 1 shot. Then Lu Ming charged at the other 2 people. The other 2 people were shocked. They did not dare to stop Lu Ming and retreated far away. Lu Ming landed on the path of vital qi and strode forward. No one stopped him. Isn't he a little too strong? Is he still at the true God realm? Those true God realm existences in the distance were all dumbfounded, unable to react for a moment. Some people were extremely dejected. They were all at true God level, but the gap between them and Lu Ming was too great. They did not know whether they were too useless or Lu Ming was too abnormal. Lu Ming could not be bothered with these people's thoughts. He ran quickly and followed the path of the vital qi deep into the cave. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2884 Vital Energy. Day and night after Lu Ming ran on the path of vitality for a while, he used the ancient god tactic to shrink his body and return to his normal form. And NBSP maintaining the ancient god body was extremely energy draining, and he would probably need to conserve his energy in the upcoming battle. He did not know where the path of vital qi extended from. Lu Ming followed the path of vital qi and walked for thousands of miles before he finally reached the end. In front of him, a huge bubble was floating in the dark void. Tentacles extended from the bubble. These tentacles were the 81 yuan qi paths under their feet. Lu Ming's gaze was instantly attracted by something in the middle of the bubble. It was a crystal the size of a heart, emitting a brilliant light. The Heart of Desolation. Lu Ming knew that this was the Heart of Desolation. However, no one was fighting for it at the moment. Those who had entered earlier than Lu Ming were all standing at the end of the path of vital qi, looking at the heart of desolation with greed. These people shouldn't be able to enter. Lu Ming pondered and did not act rashly. However, before Lu Ming moved, the others did. An old woman who had entered at about the same time as Lu Ming had a glint in her eyes. She strode forward and pounced on the bubble, wanting to rush into the bubble and grab the heart of desolation in her hand. The others sneered as they watched. Bang! The old woman crashed into the bubble and crashed into it. With a scream, the old woman's body was pushed back and her face was swollen, but her injuries were not serious. Stop dreaming. We can't enter this bubble now. One of them sneered. Why didn't you remind me just now? The old woman stared at the man with a dark expression. Who do you think you are? Why should I remind you? The man sneered. You, the old woman gritted her teeth. However, her cultivation level was not as high as the other parties, so she did not dare to say anything. What should we do? Are you just going to watch the heart of desolation in front of you and not get it? Someone said with a frown. The heart of desolation has appeared before. I've read about it in an ancient book. At this moment, a white-haired old man spoke. You've seen the records, so do you know how to get the heart of desolation? Someone's eyes lit up as he looked at the white-haired old man. I do know, so there's no harm in telling you. The white-haired elder smiled faintly. The balloon outside the heart of desolation is the vital chi day and night formed by powerful energy. The vital chi day and night will extend into 81 vital chi paths. Each time, only 81 people can follow the vital chi paths to come to the center. That's why I'm saying that there's only a way to get the heart of desolation when all 81 paths of vital chi have been stepped on by living beings. According to what you're saying, when all 81 paths of vital chi are occupied, this bubble, which is vital chi, will dissipate? Someone asked. In your dreams. Let me tell you, it's not possible to obtain the heart of desolation just because there's someone on all 81 paths of vital chi. It's not that easy to break through the vital chi day and night. You still need some luck. The white-haired old man said. What luck do you need? Old man, can't you just say everything in one go? Someone said impatiently. What's the hurry? Aren't there still many paths of vital chi that no one has yet to reach? The white-haired old man replied indifferently, then slowly said, if you want to break through the vital chi morning and evening, everyone has to join forces. Everyone on the 81 paths of vital chi has to join forces and inject their divine power into the vital chi morning and evening to activate the vital chi pillars. Only by activating 999 vital chi pillars can you break through the vital chi morning and evening. So it's that simple. I'll go first. A burly middle-aged man took the first step forward and arrived at the vital chi morning and evening. He placed his palm against the vital chi morning and evening, and rolling divine power continuously poured into the vital chi morning and evening. Buzz. The vital chi trembled slightly, and then a certain part of the body trembled more and more violently. Finally, a pillar of vital chi flew out. It was 100 meters long, like a long snake dancing in the air. Again? The middle-aged man roared and continued to pour in divine power. His vital chi vibrated day and night, and then 2 more pillars of vital chi flew out. There were a total of 3 pillars of vital chi, but there was no 4th pillar of vital chi. Come out, come out! The middle-aged man roared angrily and continued to pour in Shin power. However, his yuan chi did not move at all. There was no reaction at all. So few, only 3? Many people looked at each other. That middle-aged burly man had a full 6th level celestial deity cultivation, but he could only activate 3 pillars of essence chi, making many people's hearts sink. To open the day and night vitality, 999 pillars of vitality were required. There were only 81 of them. According to this ratio, it was impossible to open the day and night vitality. The burly man himself was so ashamed that his face turned red. I'll do it. Following that, another middle-aged woman stepped forward and injected her divine power into the vital chi. This person was also a 6th level heavenly deity, but she could only activate 3 pillars of vital chi with all her might. This made many people's faces even uglier. Following that, a 7th level celestial deity existence stepped forward. But the situation was not much better either. He could only stimulate 5 essence chi pillars. Everyone looked at each other. According to this ratio, even if all 81 of them went forward, the yuan chi pillars they activated would not exceed 300. It was impossible to open the yuan chi morning and evening. As expected. As far as I know, although the number of yuan chi pillars activated is somewhat related to cultivation, it is more related to talent. The higher the talent, the more yuan chi pillars activated. In the past, every time the heart of desolation appeared, people began to gather in the desolate mountains. Very few people could get it because they couldn't open the Yuan-Chi morning and night. Only after the news spread, the geniuses of all the major forces gathered together and joined forces, could they open the Yuan-Chi morning and night. The white-haired old man from before sighed. When the heavens' favorites from the big families and sects arrive, we won't be able to get anything. No matter what, we have to try. Next, let me do it. An old woman was unwilling to give up. She stepped forward and injected her Shin power into the vital chi of day and night. This old woman was the strongest and had activated 6 pillars of Yuan Chi, but it was like a cup of water on a burning cart of firewood. The others were also unwilling to give up. They all stepped forward and poured in their divine power. One by one, pillars of vital chi flew out like long snakes dancing. However, some 5th-level celestial deity existences activated even fewer pillars of essence chi. Some had 2 and some even only had 1. Not long after, out of the 81 people, 80 of them had already made their move. Lu Ming was the only one who had not made his move. 80 people added up to only 251. He was a full 748 fish away from 999. Chapter 2884. One person. Everyone's faces turned ugly. Sigh, it still doesn't work. Only 251. The difference is too great. We have no fate with the heart of desolation. I guess only many heaven's favorites can open the Yuan Chi day to day. Many people sighed. Some people glanced at Lu Ming and ignored him. Lu Ming was the only one who had not made a move. However, the crowd had already lost all hope. It was already a miracle that Lu Ming, a true God-level person, could make it this far. It would be considered good if he could activate even 1 pillar of primordial chi. Even if Lu Ming was young and had good talent, there was not a glimmer of hope for the remaining 700 or so. Forget it. Someone shook his head, withdrew his divine power, and retreated a dozen steps. Following that, the others shook their heads, retracted their divine power, and retreated. The pillars of vital chi also disappeared. However, no one left because they were somewhat unwilling. This is interesting. I wonder how many pillars of vital chi I can trigger if I go forward? Lu Ming pondered in his heart and revealed a trace of interest. He then stepped forward. The moment Lu Ming moved, many people's gazes turned to him. This kid still wants to go up. We've already failed and he still wants to go up. Is he an idiot? But speaking of which, it's not easy for this kid to come here with his true God realm cultivation. He might be a genius. No matter how much of a genius he is, how many pillars of vitality can he activate? 10, 20, even if he can activate 100, it won't help. That's right. Guess how many Yuan Chi pillars this kid can activate? How many? He's so young, yet he's able to reach this stage with such cultivation. His talent is definitely not weak. I'm guessing he can activate at least 10 Yuan Chi pillars. 10, maybe more. I'm guessing between 20 and 30. 20 to 30? That's too much. We only have 6 at most. The crowd discussed animatedly and began to guess how many pillars of vital chi Lu Ming would be able to activate. As for Lu Ming, he had already walked to the bottom of the pillar of vital chi. He stretched out his palm and placed it on the vital chi morning and evening. His divine power slowly surged into the vital chi morning and evening. Bus. And NBSP whoosh. The vital chi of day and night suddenly shook violently. Then pillars of vital chi formed and danced in the air. 36 lines. The moment Lu Ming infused his divine power, he activated 36 pillars of vital chi. So many? The others were shocked. Just now, some people guessed that Lu Ming would be able to trigger between 20 to 30 veins. Some people felt that they had guessed too much and it would be difficult for Lu Ming to do it. He did not expect that Lu Ming would be able to activate 36 pillars of vital chi in an instant. However, this was not the end. Following that, the vital chi trembled even more violently, creating a loud rumbling sound like a huge wave. Wah wah wah. As the vital chi continued to flow, more pillars of vital chi burst out. This time there were a total of 360 pillars. In addition to the previous 36, there were a total of 396. CSISI. The crowd gasped. Everyone's eyes were about to pop out and they were speechless. 396 pillars. Everyone looked at the 390 pillars of vital chi dancing in the air and thought they were dreaming. My God, there are 396 of them. How is this possible? How is this possible? How can he trigger so many Yuan Chi pillars? Unbelievable, monstrous, monstrous. This man is a peerless genius. If 3 people like him came, they would be able to break through the Yuan Chi morning and evening. Some people shouted in shock. The number of Yuan Qi pillars that Lu Ming had activated alone was more than the number of Yuan Qi pillars that the 80 of them had activated together. However, their shock was far from over. Thump thump thump. At that moment, Lu Ming's ancient god heart started to thump loudly. Waves of ancient god aura flowed into Lu Ming's palm and into his vital qi. Bus, bus, and NBSP whoosh. The vital qi in the sky began to vibrate again. Then pillars of vital qi flew out. This time, more than 300 Yuan Qi pillars were formed. In total, there were 700 of them. Also, the others were completely dumbfounded. They were completely stunned. 700, a total of 700. In history, the most powerful genius had only triggered slightly more than 100 blood veins. How was it possible that Lu Ming had triggered 700 blood veins? How could there be such a powerful heaven's favorite in the world? The other 80 people thought that they had seen the world, but at this moment they all felt like country bumpkins, people who had come from a poor and remote place and had not seen the world. 700, this should be the limit. The white-haired old man from before swallowed hard. His eyes were wide open and his heart was thumping. However, the next moment he almost fell to the ground. That was because the vibration of the vital qi had not stopped. Instead, it was vibrating even more violently. Could it be? Could it be that it can activate a pillar of vital qi? Some people said in a hoarse voice. 700 is not enough. Let's try the battle formula. A glint flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. He then started to activate the battle character formula. Lu Ming's comprehension of the battle formula was getting more and more profound. Now he had a 50% success rate of activating the battle formula and multiplying his combat power by 4. Lu Ming's body exuded a powerful fighting spirit. Waves of powerful energy burst out from his body. Boom, boom, boom. The vital qi shook even more violently and then pillars of vital qi rushed out. This time, a few hundred Yuan Qi pillars rushed out, filling the sky with Yuan Qi pillars. The number of Yuan Qi pillars had reached 999. The number of vital qi pillars required to open vital qi day and night was 999. Heavens! He alone has activated 999 pillars of vital qi. This is too shocking. This is unbelievable. The crowd was almost scared to death. At this moment, the vital qi trembled violently, rolling up a wave of vital qi that filled the sky. A terrifying roar was heard and cracks appeared on the vital qi. It's about to open, the vital energy is about to open. The heart of desolation is about to be born. Many people shouted, their eyes burning with passion. This time it was really beyond everyone's expectations. They originally thought that it was impossible to open the Yuan Qi at this time. They had to wait until the news spread out and the geniuses of the major forces of the Qin Heaven Star region gathered before they could open it. They never thought that they could open it now. Haha, the heart of desolation is destined to be mine. A 7th-level celestial deity expert roared loudly in his heart, his eyes burning. Although Lu Ming had activated 999 pillars of vital qi, in his opinion, Lu Ming was only talented. His cultivation and combat strength were nothing in his eyes. Chapter 2886 Strength revealed. Actually, not only did this 7th-level celestial deity expert think so, the others also thought so. They had to admit that Lu Ming's talent was so high that it was unheard of. However, Lu Ming's cultivation base was only at true god level after all. Having high talent did not mean that he was powerful. They did not take him seriously at all. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the chaotic heart of the vital qi, waiting for the moment the vital qi would collapse. Boom. Finally, the vital qi exploded with a loud bang, turning into endless vital qi and dissipating into the air. The heart of desolation is mine. A 7th-level celestial deity powerhouse gave a loud roar and pounced over towards the heart of desolation. Get lost, the heart of desolation is mine. Kill. The rest of the people roared and pounced on the heart of desolation with blood-red eyes. The lowest cultivation level of those who could make it this far was at least at the 5th level of the heavenly deity realm. All of them had astonishing battle prowess, and there was a total of 80 of them. They pounced toward the heart of chaos and a chaotic battle began. Boom, boom, boom. Everyone was engaged in an intense battle. All 80 of them wanted the heart of desolation, but the moment anyone got close to it, they would be attacked by the others. As soon as the battle began, some people had already fallen and were killed here. A few miserable cries sounded out. A few 5th-level celestial deity existences were killed. However, no one retreated. They continued to attack the heart of desolation. The Heart of Desolation was something that even the divine kings would be tempted to fight for. It was extremely valuable. One could imagine how ordinary cultivators would be able to resist such temptation. Everyone had neglected Lu Ming. No one thought that Lu Ming was a threat. Lu Ming stood at the side with a smile and retracted his divine power. He did not make a move and just watched the tigers fight while he reaped the benefits. The battle was getting more and more intense. Some of the weaker ones were killed and killed. Finally, some people were scared and retreated out of the battlefield. Only a few 6th and 7th level celestial deities were still fighting and competing. However, no one was able to get close to the Heart of Desolation. This battle went on for half a day, but no one had the desire to achieve Tao. In the end, the killing stopped. The strongest group of experts stopped around the Heart of Desolation, facing each other and gasping for breath. It was obvious that they had used up a lot of energy. After this battle, there were only about 40 people left out of the original 80. Nearly half of them had fallen here. The remaining people stood in a stalemate and stared at each other. For a moment, no one dared to make the first move. They all knew that whoever made the first move would be surrounded and attacked by the others. No one could guarantee that they would be able to escape unscathed when they were surrounded by others. It's almost time. Lu Ming mumbled and stepped forward. Step by step, he walked towards the Heart of Desolation. What is this kid trying to do? Many people's eyes were focused on Lu Ming. Some of them had cold killing intent in their eyes. Could it be that this brat wants to seize the Heart of Desolation? You're really looking for death. Some people's eyes glowed with a cold light. Brat, stop. Someone shouted. However, Lu Ming did not stop and continued to move forward. He could not be bothered with that person. Brat, you're looking for death. The man roared and slashed at Lu Ming. This person had the cultivation of a 6th level celestial deity, but in the great battle just now, this person was already injured. Furthermore, his divine power was severely exhausted, and his combat strength was weakened a lot. He was even inferior to a 5th level celestial deity under normal circumstances. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted and attacked with all his might, whipping his spear at the man. Boom. The two of them exchanged a blow, resulting in a loud explosion. Lu Ming's figure only swayed a little, while his opponent's body trembled violently and he retreated continuously. This kid. Many people's eyes focused and revealed looks of surprise. Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded their expectations. Although that person's combat strength was much weaker, he was still not to be underestimated. On the other hand, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at true god level, but he could actually force such an expert to retreat. No wonder you could reach this place. Many people had the same thought. Lu Ming continued to rush towards the Heart of Desolation after forcing the person back. Kid, you have some strength, but it's not enough. An old woman shouted coldly. She stretched out her shriveled palm and clawed at Lu Ming. One of the shriveled claws grew rapidly and emitted a disgusting smell as it clawed at Lu Ming. This old woman had a 7th level celestial deity cultivation. Previously, she stimulated 6 essence chi pillars. Her strength was extremely shocking. Even though she had used up a lot of her divine power, her power was still terrifying. However, Lu Ming was not afraid at all. Ancient God Body. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He used the ancient god tactic and his body grew rapidly. This time Lu Ming did not hold back. He used his full strength. He turned into a 200-meter-tall green-armored ancient god and let out an ancient god's roar. With a loud roar, Lu Ming thrust his spear forward. The old woman's palm was pierced by Lu Ming. She let out a sharp scream and retracted her claw. Her face was pale and her palm was bleeding. The others were shocked. The old woman's abilities were extremely terrifying. Although she had expended some energy, it was still very terrifying. She was actually injured by Lu Ming's spear. A true God Realm person had such terrifying battle strength? After repelling the old woman, Lu Ming's figure flashed and he rushed toward the Heart of Desolation. He wants to take the Heart of Desolation. Let's attack together and kill this person. The old woman shouted. A powerful aura erupted from her body and she charged toward Lu Ming. At the same time, the other powerhouses also charged toward Lu Ming. There were more than 10 7th-level heavenly deities and many 6th-level heavenly deities. With so many people attacking together, the power was astonishing. You're looking for death. Go. Lu Ming shouted coldly. A layer of scarlet golden armor appeared on his huge body. Then 9 ice chains flew out and wrapped around his body. Lu Ming first set up layers of defense and then charged toward the old woman. Boom. Lu Ming thrust his spear forward. A ray of spear light pierced towards the old woman as if it was a destructive force. If Lu Ming were to go all out now, he could suppress the Supreme Holy Sun. Although the Supreme Holy Sun's cultivation base was only at the 6th level of the celestial deity realm, his combat strength was strong enough to kill a 7th level celestial deity. He was probably even stronger than the old woman. Since Lu Ming could suppress the Supreme Holy Sun, it was naturally not a problem for him to deal with the old woman. Moreover, the other party's divine power had been severely depleted. The spear radiance broke the old woman's attack. The old woman screamed and spat out a mouthful of blood as she retreated rapidly. At this moment, the other people's attacks also landed on Lu Ming. The 9 ice chains and the scarlet gold armor shook a few times before they exploded and landed on the green scales on Lu Ming's body. However, the green scales had amazing defense and successfully blocked the attacks from the others. Chapter 2886 Success. The green scales on the ancient god body had an extremely strong defense. Although the many experts had destroyed Lu Ming's ice chains and 9-layered crimson gold armor, they could not break through the defense of the green scales. Although some of the scales were broken and blood seeped out of his body, Lu Ming managed to block the attack. Lu Ming had a rough idea of his own defense. Kill? Lu Ming shouted. He no longer cared about his own defense. He waved his long spear and charged at the old woman. The old woman was already severely injured by Lu Ming and did not have the strength to fight back at all. At this moment she retreated frantically in fear and shouted, "Save me, save me!" However, Lu Ming had resisted the other people's attacks and was charging toward him. The others wanted to save him but they were too late. Bang! The long spear thrust out, and a huge spear light crushed toward the old woman. In front of the huge spear light, the old woman's body was as small as an ant. She exploded and turned into ashes. A 7th-level celestial deity powerhouse was killed by Lu Ming just like that. After killing the old woman, Lu Ming changed the direction of his spear and attacked the others. In the process of attacking the others, Lu Ming's body kept flashing with various kinds of lights. He had 9 layers of crimson gold armor, ice chains, and even 3 divine dragons. Lu Ming did not use these godly skills and secret skills to attack. Instead, he used them for defense. Boom, boom, boom. One attack after another landed on Lu Ming's body. His body trembled. The ice chains, the 9-layer crimson gold armor, and the divine dragon phenomenon all crumbled. However, in this way the power of the attacks that really landed on Lu Ming's body was reduced by a lot. Lu Ming had blocked all of them. Lu Ming looked like he was covered in blood, but his vital parts were not injured. Lu Ming blocked the attacks of the others, but the others could not block Lu Ming's attacks. Lu Ming specifically targeted a 7th-level celestial deity and launched a fierce attack. Very soon, this person followed in the old woman's footsteps and was killed by Lu Ming. After killing 2 7th-level celestial deity existences in a row, the others were finally a little afraid. Their eyes were filled with fear. Some of them even slowed down their attacks, planning to escape if something went wrong. Lu Ming, on the other hand, became more and more courageous as the battle progressed. His fighting spirit soared. A terrifying spear radiance was continuously thrust and swept out. Not long after, 2 more people were killed. Not good. Retreat. Some of them were terrified. Seeing Lu Ming coming, they did not dare to fight back and retreated, afraid that Lu Ming would target them. But Lu Ming did not chase after him. With a sway of his body, he rushed directly towards the Heart of Desolation. When he was close to the Heart of Desolation, no one was competing with him. Lu Ming grabbed the Heart of Desolation and kept it in his storage ring. Damn it, my chaotic heart. Many people were roaring in their hearts. They watched helplessly as Lu Ming kept the Heart of Desolation. They were extremely envious but no one dared to step forward to stop him. Lu Ming's combat strength was too strong. The main thing was that his defense was too strong. They could not break through Lu Ming's defense and could not give him a fatal blow. If it was another expert who had similar attack power as Lu Ming but did not have such a strong defense, he would definitely not be a match for so many of them. He would be killed by their joint attack. It was a pity that after Lu Ming transformed into the ancient god's body, his defense was too strong. He could withstand their attacks and then chase after one person. This made them frightened. The Heart of Desolation, I've finally gotten it. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled into a smile. He then rushed in the direction he came from. No one stopped Lu Ming wherever he went. Although the Heart of Desolation was precious, it was far less valuable than his own life. Lu Ming left the place unimpeded and went outside. Outside, many people cast suspicious glances at Lu Ming. You're out? What was going on inside? Did anyone get the Heart of Desolation? You seem to be heavily injured. You must have been seriously injured and withdrawn from the competition, right? Many people saw that Lu Ming was the first one to come out and immediately started asking questions. That's right. They're fighting for the Heart of Desolation and there's a great battle going on inside. My cultivation base is too weak and I can't defeat them. I'm lucky to have survived, Lu Ming said. Everyone nodded and believed that Lu Ming was telling the truth. No one suspected that Lu Ming had obtained the Heart of Desolation. Therefore no one suspected Lu Ming. He left the place without any obstacles and headed out of the desolate mountain range. Haha, Lu Ming, you're quite lucky. You didn't get the desolate grass but you got the Heart of Desolation. If you use the Heart of Desolation to refine a formation disc, its power will be even more astonishing. At that time you'll have a higher chance of dealing with that dragon boat. In his sea of consciousness, the bone demon laughed heartily, sighing at Lu Ming's luck. Lu Ming was very happy. Now that he had found all the things that the bone demon had mentioned, he could return to Kongshen sect and refine the array disc. If the Dragon Boat's mountain wanted to sacrifice him to break the Rising Dragon formation, it wouldn't be that easy. Not long after, Lu Ming left the Mountains of Desolation. After spending some time, he returned to the Kongshen sect. After returning to Kongshen sect, Lu Ming went to look for Ouyang Qingxiang. Lu Ming, you want to see my grandfather? Ouyang Xiangxiang asked in surprise. Yes, I have something that I would like to ask Senior Yu for help. Lu Ming nodded. The disc array that Bone Demon had mentioned was extremely profound. With Lu Ming's current cultivation base he could not refine it at all. Only a God King could refine it completely and unleash its full power. However, it was easier said than done to get a God King to help. Therefore Lu Ming immediately thought of Ouyang Qingxiang's grandfather, Yu Wuya. Lu Ming had helped Ouyang Qingxiang to become the Zongzi of the Kongshen sect. There was no reason for Yu Wuya to reject Lu Ming. I'm asking my grandfather for help. It's a small matter. Come with me. Ouyang Qingxiang nodded, then brought Lu Ming to Yu Wuya's cultivation place. When they arrived at Yu Wuya's cultivation place, Lu Ming waited outside while Ouyang Xiangxiang went in to look for Yu Wuya. Not long after, Ouyang Xiangxiang came out with a smile on her face. Lu Ming, my grandfather just came out of seclusion. They'll bring you to see him. Lu Ming nodded and followed Ouyang Qingxiang to a large hall where he met Yu Wuya. Junior Lu Ming greets Senior Yu. Lu Ming cupped his fists and saluted. After all, the other party was a Divine King expert, a top-notch expert from the Qin Heaven Star Zone. He still had to show some courtesy. Lu Ming, you're welcome. Sit. Yu Wuya smiled and invited Lu Ming to take a seat. Lu Ming had helped Ouyang Xiangxiang obtain the Zongzi position, and Yu Wuya's impression of Lu Ming was extremely good. The more he looked at Lu Ming, the more he liked him. He was even thinking about how to match Lu Ming and Ouyang Xiangxiang together. This way, Ouyang Xiangxiang's position in the Kongshen sect would be as stable as Mount Tai in the future. Therefore he was naturally very polite to Lu Ming. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang took their seats and someone came to make tea. Chapter 2887 Formation Plate in hand. Yu Wuya picked up the teacup and took a sip. Then, his gaze fell on Lu Ming and he asked, I heard from Qingxiang that you have something you need my help with? Yes, Senior Yu. Junior wants to refine a type of formation disc, but Junior's cultivation level is too low so Junior can't refine it. Only God King experts can refine it so Junior thought of Senior. Lu Ming did not hide anything and told him his purpose directly. What formation plate? It even requires a God King to refine it? Yu Wuya was also interested. Senior, please take a look. Lu Ming took out a jade talisman and with a wave of his hand, the jade talisman flew towards Yu Wuya. Yu Wuya took it and scanned it with his spiritual sense, reading the contents of the talisman. After a while, Yu Wuya revealed an expression of surprise and said, What a profound formation plate. The method of making such a formation plate is truly unheard of. It's amazing, amazing. No wonder you can't make it with your cultivation base. Hee, don't you know who gave you the array disc? How can the array disc given by this lord be bad? The Bone Devil's proud voice sounded. Senior, this is something this junior obtained by chance while exploring some ancient ruins. May I ask if Senior is able to refine it? Lu Ming asked. This old man can refine it, but the materials needed to refine this array disc are quite rare. Even this old man can't gather them in a short time. Yu Wuya said. Senior, the materials are not a problem, this junior has already gathered them. After Lu Ming finished speaking, he took out the materials needed to refine the array disk one by one. The Heart of Desolation? Lu Ming, you actually have the Heart of Desolation? When he saw Lu Ming take out the Heart of Desolation, even Yu Wuya was shocked. Lu Ming's weight in his heart increased even more. This junior got this by luck. Lu Ming said humbly. Yu Wuya smiled. He knew that Lu Ming was being humble. If he could get it if he was lucky, why couldn't others get it? Lu Ming, since the materials are ready, I can start refining now. However, it will take a few months to complete the refining. I'll send someone to inform you when I'm done. Yu Wuya said. Many thanks, Senior. Senior, Junior has a request. I hope that Senior will not tell anyone else about the formation plate, especially the other God Kings. Lu Ming said. If news of this formation plate were to spread to Dragon Boat Mountain, or if Dragon Boat Mountain were to see it, it would most likely cause Dragon Boat Mountain to be on guard. Yu Wuya looked at Lu Ming in surprise. He did not understand why Lu Ming did not dare to let the other God Kings know about this. However, he did not probe further and nodded. Don't worry, I won't let a second person know. Many thanks, Senior. Lu Ming cupped his fists in thanks and left the place with Ouyang Qingxiang. It could be refined in a few months' time, and there was enough time. Dragon Boats Mountain had given Lu Ming 10 years. After returning to his residence, Lu Ming cultivated in peace. In the blink of an eye, a few months had passed. Yu Wuya had already finished refining the array disk and asked Ouyang Xiangxiang to bring it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief and felt much more confident. This kind of cultivation is too slow. Wanting to break through to the celestial deity realm within 10 years is simply impossible. On this day, Lu Ming ended his cultivation and frowned in deep thought. From peak 9th stage true god to celestial deity realm, there was a huge natural chasm. Wanting to break through was seriously too difficult. 99% of the people were stuck at the peak of true god forever, unable to break through. Only those with extraordinary talent, after a long period of accumulation or by chance, could break through. Therefore, those who could break through to the heavenly god realm were mostly geniuses who had mastered king-grade divine power. The higher the level of Shin power, the easier it would be to break through. Most of those who controlled ordinary divine power found it difficult to break through to the heavenly god realm. Of course, it was not absolute. There were also those who controlled ordinary divine power who broke through to the heavenly god realm, but they were very few, very few. However, even the heavens' favorites with the highest level of divine power would find it hard to break through to the celestial god realm within 10 years after just breaking through to the peak of stage 9 true god realm, unless they had a great opportunity. Lu Ming frowned. He had no doubt that if he could not break through to the enlightened master level within 10 years, the dragon boats would really attack him. Lu Ming was thinking about what method he could use to quickly make a breakthrough in his cultivation level. At this moment, Lu Ming's heart stirred. He sensed that someone was coming to the courtyard. Lu Ming walked out of the courtyard and saw a white-haired elder standing in the air. Holy Son Lu Ming. The white-haired old man nodded with a smile. Elder Lu, why have you come to find me? Lu Ming asked. Lu Ming recognized this white-haired elder. He was an inner sect elder. The sect master has summoned all the holy sons and holy virgins. He has a mission for you, Elder Lu said. A mission? He even gathered all the holy sons and holy virgins? What is the mission? Lu Ming was puzzled and asked. To be honest, I don't know either. I'm only in charge of passing on the message. Holy Son Lu Ming, follow me. A senior elder will tell you later. Elder Lu said courteously. Then Lu Ming followed Elder Lu and flew toward the depths of the inner sect. Soon the two of them arrived at the peak of a mountain. Everyone's here. Lu Ming looked around and saw that the Supreme Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, the Yenkong Saint Sun, the Jixia Saint Sun, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the Shuetan Saint were all here. Everyone's gaze fell on Lu Ming when they saw him approaching. Especially the Supreme Holy Sun. A cold glint flashed in his eyes, revealing a wisp of killing intent. However, it was only a flash before it was concealed. However, Lu Ming's spiritual senses were very sharp and he could still clearly capture it. You want to kill me? It's best if I don't find an opportunity. A murderous intent flashed across Lu Ming's heart. It was obvious that the Supreme Holy Sun had lost to Lu Ming last time and held a grudge against him, wanting to kill him. If there was a chance, Lu Ming would not be soft-hearted and would find a chance to get rid of such a person. His gaze swept past the Supreme Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, and the others before landing on an old man at the very front. Doyan. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. From the old man's attire, Lu Ming could tell that he was an elder of the Kong Shen sect Senate, a divine king. Elder Lu landed in front of the Doyen and bowed respectfully. "Grand Elder, I've brought Holy Son Lu Ming. And you may leave," the Doyen said indifferently. Then Elder Lu left respectfully. Only Lu Ming, the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins, and the Doyen were left on the mountain peak. "You must be very curious about what kind of mission has gathered you all here for, right?" The Elder smiled. "That's right. Grand Elder Fan, may I know why you've gathered all of us at the same time?" The Supreme Saint was the first to ask. "This time there's indeed a big matter that requires all of you to join forces. The location will be in Dark Light Galaxy. As for the specific matter, don't be in a hurry. Follow me. When we reach Dark Light Galaxy, I'll naturally tell you. Let's go." After Elder Fan finished speaking, he headed in the direction of the teleportation array. Everyone could only carry their doubts as they followed Grand Elder Fan and stepped into the teleportation array. Refining a star core. Dark Light Galaxy was an extremely remote galaxy in the Qin Heaven Galaxy. It was even more remote than the chaotic Astral River. This was because there were very few living beings in this galaxy. There were even fewer cultivators and very few deities. Thus, very few people would come here. Each major force had only set up a symbolic teleportation point in Dark Ice Galaxy and sent a few people to guard it. Through the teleportation array, Lu Ming and the rest arrived at the teleportation point. Then, Grand Elder Fan waved his hand and a divine force enveloped them, bringing them to the starry sky of the universe at an extremely fast speed. What a shocking speed! Lu Ming looked at the stars flying past him one after another and he was shocked. The Divine King experts were too fast. They were faster than most of the starships. In fact, after reaching the Divine King realm, there was almost no need to use an interplanetary warship. Unless it was a rare and high-grade one, the speed of an ordinary interplanetary warship couldn't even match the flying speed of a Divine King. Half a day later, a dazzling light suddenly flashed in the starry sky ahead. In the starry sky ahead, circles of light appeared. They were extremely dazzling, even more resplendent than the stars, illuminating the universe. Lu Ming and the rest stopped. Everyone looked ahead in shock. It was because the rings of light were too big, many times bigger than a life planet. "This is our destination. There's a galaxy ahead," Grand Elder Fan explained. Everyone looked over and saw that there was indeed a galaxy in front of them. At the core of this galaxy was a star. However, this star's light was extremely dim, as if it was going to be extinguished at any moment. There were about a dozen planets revolving around the star. The rings of light were emitted from the surroundings of this galaxy. One could imagine how huge it was. Boom, boom. At this moment, a series of terrifying rumbles burst out from the periphery of the galaxy. A brilliant divine light illuminated the starry sky, and the terrifying explosion shook the entire galaxy. "There's an expert attacking that galaxy," Ouyang Qingxiang exclaimed. "That's right. There are indeed experts attacking this galaxy. It's the sect heads of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans and some God King elders," Grand Elder Fan explained. Lu Ming and the rest were even more shocked. The sect heads of the Qin Heaven 13 clans had actually arrived. There were also some Divine King Realm elders. They were all attacking this galaxy. What was inside this galaxy? Let me tell you. Someone has set up a formation in this entire galaxy. The rings of light are the light from the formation. The sect heads of the Qin Heaven 13 clans and the God King experts will find it difficult to break through, Grand Elder Fan explained. Use the galaxy to set up a formation. Lu Ming and the group were dumbfounded. How big was a galaxy? Someone had actually set up a large formation in the entire galaxy. What kind of terrifying and grand work was this? It really made people exclaim in admiration. Elder Fan, what exactly is in this formation? You've actually attracted the attention of the heaven-raising 13 clans. Also, what does this have to do with us? The Supreme Saint asked. The sect heads of the Qin Heaven 13 clans and a few Divine King elders had come. What did that have to do with them? With their cultivation they couldn't do anything at all. Don't be anxious. We have to start from the beginning. Following that, Grand Elder Fan explained the ins and outs of the matter in detail. Usually, no one would pay attention to Dark Light Galaxy and almost no one would come. However, a few months ago, someone had accidentally discovered an extremely strange galaxy here. After some deliberation, they discovered that a large formation had been set up in this galaxy. Such a grand move quickly alarmed the higher-ups of the Qin Heaven 13 High School. The Qin Heaven 13 clans immediately sent experts who were proficient in formations to study it and finally came to a shocking conclusion. In the distant past, Someone had set up a large formation in the entire galaxy with the star as the core, with the purpose of refining the star core. To refine an entire star into a star core. The moment this news came out, it shocked the majority of the God King experts of the Qin Heaven 13 clans. This was because once a cultivator reached the Divine King realm, he would have to condense a star core. After a heavenly god broke through to the Divine King realm, the divine fire in the body would turn into a star core. A star nucleus was the core of a star and it contained boundless power. However, the core of a King God realm star was still very fragile and small. It couldn't be compared to the core of a star. Someone actually wanted to refine a star into a star core. A star core refined from a star was definitely a priceless treasure. If a God King could obtain it, his cultivation would definitely advance by leaps and bounds. Moreover, some formation masters had already concluded that this formation had been set up for a very long time. The star had almost been refined, and the star core had been successfully refined. It would be strange if those God Kings were not tempted. If they could obtain a star core, their cultivation would advance by leaps and bounds. They would then be able to suppress the other God Kings and dominate the Qin Heaven star realm. Hence, the sect heads of the Qin Heaven 13 clans and many other God Kings descended in an attempt to fight for the star core. However, they were blocked by the formation of the galaxy. After a few months of attacks, many experts were unable to break through the formation and enter the galaxy. After the research of many array masters, it was estimated that only the prodigies of the younger generation could enter this galaxy. This was because the formation had been specially set up. If one's age exceeded a certain range, they would not be able to enter at all. That was why they had gathered them together. It's not just our Kongshen sect. The top geniuses of the other forces have all been gathered. However, the sect leaders and the God King elders are still unwilling to give up. They want to make one last attempt to see if they can break this formation. Grand Elder Fan finally explained. Lu Ming and the group finally came to a realization. They finally knew what had happened. At the front, the sect heads and the Divine King elders were trying to break the formation for the last time. If they still couldn't break it, they would probably have to send the younger generation. No wonder all the holy sons and holy virgins were gathered here this time. They might have to compete with the top geniuses of other forces, even the geniuses of the three overlords. Boom, boom. In the starry sky ahead, the rumbling sounds continued and dazzling light flashed. Come with me. Grand Elder Fan led Lu Ming and the group forward. Bus. And NBSP whoosh. At this time, other streams of light also flew over from other directions. Lu Ming and the rest swept their gazes and saw that each stream of light was a figure. Each of them had a Divine King expert and a group of young people. It was obvious that these were experts from other forces, and they had brought their young Heaven's Pride experts. After flying for a while, they stopped not far from the galaxy ahead. The remnants of the three sects in this area, there were other people besides Lu Ming and the group. There were a total of 13 batches and each batch had a few youths. The geniuses of the Qin Heaven 13 clans had all arrived. Among them, the three overlord forces, the unique Demon Academy, the indestructible Sword Sect, and the boundless Holy Land had the most people. All of them had thick auras, and their eyes were filled with powerful Qi dynamic. It was obvious that they were all experts, all at the level of saints. However, some sects were much more humble. Although there were many people, and some sects even had more people than the Kongshen sect, there were very few holy sons. Some forces only had one or two. The others were not holy sons at all. They were far worse than them. The geniuses of Qintian number 13 were all sizing each other up. Supreme Universe Master, I heard that you were defeated during the Zongzi competition in the Kongshen sect. Ah, you're really trash. At this time, a loud laughter was heard from the unique Devil Academy. Lu Ming and the rest looked in the direction of the voice. A member of the multi-eyed race. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. The person who had just spoken had 4 eyes on his face. There were 2 eyes on each side of his face, and all 4 eyes were shining with a cold light. This was the multi-eyed race, also known as the 4-eyed race. Like the 3-eyed race, they were a multi-eyed race. 4 eyes Void Court, what did you say? The Supreme Holy Son's expression was extremely cold as he stared at this person. This person's name was 4 eyes Void Court. What's wrong? Did I say something wrong? I heard that you were even defeated by a new disciple of your Kongshen sect. If you're not trash, what are you? To think that you used to be as famous as me, how disgusting. 4-eyed Kong Ting sneered, his face full of disdain. Haha, 4 eyes Void Court, you're right. Supreme Universe, you're really trash. Someone from the Indestructible Sword Sect and the Boundless Holy Land also sneered. This made the Supreme Holy Sun's face turn even uglier and gloomier. Lu Ming, the Supreme Saint, roared in his heart. This was a great humiliation to him, and he blamed it on Lu Ming. It was all Lu Ming's fault. If not for Lu Ming, he would not have suffered such humiliation. Lu Ming, there are some people in the three forces that you have to be careful of. That Four-Eye Kong Tong is as famous as the Supreme Holy Sun. He's extremely talented and powerful. I'm afraid he's even stronger than the Supreme Holy Sun. Ouyang Qingxiang sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. There are also people like that in the Indestructible Sword Sect in the Boundless Holy Land. They're all extremely terrifying. Ouyang Qingxiang continued to send Lu Ming a voice transmission. Lu Ming nodded. I heard that there are divine sons in the three overlord forces. Where are their divine sons? Did they not come? He asked. They're all here. Ouyang Qingxiang said, did you see that cold-looking bald young man in the Unique Demon Academy? That's the divine son of the Unique Demon Academy, Mo Jui. Lu Ming looked in the direction that Ouyang Qingxiang was pointing at. As expected, he saw a bald young man among the crowd from the Unique Demon Academy. This person had an ordinary appearance and his aura was restrained. He was easily overlooked in the crowd. Lu Ming had not paid much attention to this person before. He did not expect that this person was the divine son of the Unique Devil Academy, a peerless genius who controlled divine-grade divine power. As if sensing Lu Ming's gaze, Mo Jui's gaze turned to Lu Ming as well. A dark demonic light flashed in his eyes and shot towards Lu Ming like a blade. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed and he felt a sharp pain in his eyes. He quickly circulated his energy to resist it. This person is very terrifying. Lu Ming came to a conclusion in his heart. Mo Jui stared at Lu Ming with a cold glint in his eyes. A cold smile appeared on his face. His lips moved slightly and a voice suddenly rang in Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming, you killed the holy son of my Unique Devil Academy in the ancient god world. This is a great crime and I will make you pay with your life. Mo Jui's voice was cold and emotionless, filled with a terrifying killing intent. You want to kill me? I'm afraid you don't have the ability. Lu Ming responded strongly. You're very confident. Just wait and see. Mo Jui said coldly and did not continue. Ouyang Qingxiang did not know that Lu Ming and Mo Jui had already conversed in secret and continued to introduce them to Lu Ming. The white-robed young man with the long sword on his back is the divine son of the Eternal Sword Sect. His sword Dao is boundless, and the long sword in his hand is terrifying to the extreme. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming's gaze shifted from Mo Jui to a young man in white from the Eternal Sword Sect. This man was called Wuji Kendo. He was extremely handsome and exuded a terrifying sword intent that was impossible to ignore. Another terrifying heaven's favorite. Lu Ming thought to himself. Sword Dao Infinitum's gaze also turned to Lu Ming. A cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. His eyes flickered like two divine swords, exuding a terrifying sword intent. Even the other paragons of the Indestructible Sword Sect standing beside him were shocked. They all moved away from him to avoid being hurt by his sword will. The burly young man in fiery red armor from the boundless sacred land is called Sangyen Pejuan. He's the deity of the boundless sacred land. Ouyang Xiangxiang introduced. Lu Ming's gaze looked over again. It was a young man who was almost 3 meters tall. He was unusually burly and wore a thick, fiery red armor, giving off a strong sense of oppression. The pressure he gave off was not any weaker than Mo Jui's. He was also a terrifying heaven's favorite. Lu Ming took note of the three people. Many geniuses from the Qin Heaven 13 clans came. However, only these three people made Lu Ming feel threatened. He didn't care about the others. Boom, boom. Just as everyone was sizing each other up, the explosions in front of them became even more intense. They could see that around the galaxy, circles of dazzling light were constantly shining, blocking the terrifying attacks. After a while, the attacks stopped. Then streams of light flew over. The sect heads of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans and the other God King experts had returned after breaking the formation. The next moment, 5 figures appeared in front of Lu Ming and the rest. The leader of the group was the sect leader of the Kong Shen sect, Dragon Boats. The other 4 were all founding members of the Kong Shen sect, God Kings. The auras of the 5 people from Dragon Boat Mountain were all fluctuating. It was obvious that they had used up a lot of their energy to break the formation. How is it, Sect Master? You still can't break it? Grand Elder Fan said. I can't break it. Dragon Boat Mountain shook his head. Then his gaze fell on Lu Ming and the rest. Next I'll have to rely on you guys. Don't worry, Sect Master. I'll do my best to help you get the star core. The Supreme Saint hurriedly said. There's no need for you to obtain the core of a star. With your cultivation you won't be able to obtain a star core. According to the speculation of a few formation masters, there should be some formation plates in this galaxy. Entering the galaxy, that's right. The person who set up the array didn't completely seal Lu Ming off. When he set up the array he left a possibility behind, which is the array plate. According to the speculations of several array masters, there should be 12 array plates in the galaxy. As long as we hold the array plate, we can enter the galaxy without any obstructions and obtain the star core. Therefore your mission this time is to enter the galaxy and find an array plate. You must at least obtain an array plate. Dragon Boat Mountain said. Don't worry, Sect Master, this disciple will definitely do my best. Even if I have to risk my life, I will obtain an array plate. The Supreme Holy Sun was the first to speak again. The task this time won't be easy. The other forces have also sent out all their geniuses. So, I'll give you an array plate, at least one. Of course, the more the better. Also, those array plates are scattered on different planets in the galaxy. It won't be easy to find them. Dragon Boat Mountain said. Lu Ming and the rest were silent and they started to think. It seems that the star core is very important to the Dragon Boat Mountain. Lu Ming's heart stirred. However, although entering that galaxy this time is dangerous for you, it's also an opportunity. Countless years ago, there was an Almighty who set up an array here to refine the star into a star core. Now that the star core is formed, other treasures will appear in the galaxy along the way, such as some extremely precious refining materials, and even star core fragments may appear. Dragon Boat Mountain said. A star core fragment? Lu Ming, the Supreme Holy Sun, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others' eyes lit up with a fiery light. That's right, it's a star core fragment. After all, we're going to refine this star into a star core. During the refining process, it's very possible that some star core fragments will appear. If you can get a star core fragment, it'll be a great opportunity. Dragon Boat Mountain said. This made Lu Ming and the rest even more excited. Lu Ming, this is a great opportunity for you. If you can get some star core fragments, you'll have a great chance to break through to the celestial god level in one go. Don't say I didn't give you a chance. The Dragon Boat Mountain's cold voice rang in Lu Ming's ears. There was a cold glint in Lu Ming's eyes. He did not say anything. Long Zhou's boat naturally did not have good intentions when he warned Lu Ming. He wanted Lu Ming to break through to the heavenly god realm so that he could be of use to him and help him break the trapping dragon rising to the heaven formation. Of course, Lu Ming was also very tempted by the star core fragment. He also had the intention to use the star core fragment to break through to the celestial god level. Naturally, the higher his cultivation level was, the better it would be for him in this battle with Dragon Boat Mountain. Whoever gets the array plate, it'll definitely reward you handsomely. Alright, follow me. After Dragon Boat Mountain finished speaking, he turned around and headed in the direction of the galaxy. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, the Supreme Holy Sun, and the rest followed. In another direction, the other geniuses of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans also arrived at the edge of the galaxy under the lead of their respective sect leaders. The task I gave you is to get at least 3 out of the 12 array plates. Do you understand? The Dean of the Unique Demon Academy warned the geniuses of the Unique Demon Academy. He did not hide his voice and it spread far and wide, allowing everyone to hear him. Don't worry, Principal. We'll definitely get 3 out of the 12 array plates. No problem. The geniuses of the Unique Devil Academy spoke one after another. They were all very confident. Your Unique Demon Academy is quite confident. However, if I don't destroy the Sword Sect, I will at least obtain 3 array plates. Are you confident? Who are you? The sect leader of the Eternal Sword Sect laughed coldly and asked the paragons of the Eternal Sword Sect. There are 3 array plates, I must get them. The paragon of the Indestructible Sword Sect roared with confidence. On the other side, the Boundless Sacred Lands geniuses roared as well. Their target was also at least 3 array plates. There were a total of 12 array plates. The 3 overlord forces were all confident that they would get 3 array plates each. This made the top 10 sects' faces solemn and they didn't speak. Their appetites naturally weren't that big. Their goal was an array plate. As long as they could get an array plate, they would be satisfied. Alright, you guys can set off. The college chief of the Unique Devil Academy waved his hand. Yes. The geniuses from the unique Devil Academy replied and flew toward the galaxy in front of them. There were a total of 18 planets in the galaxy in front of him, revolving around the star. There might be array plates on all 18 planets, so they could only rely on luck and randomly choose a star to fly up. However, in the beginning they could only choose to fly to the outermost planet and start their search from the outer planets. The geniuses of the unique Demon Academy chose a black planet and flew up. Then, the Indestructible Sword Sect and the Boundless Holy Land each chose a planet and flew up. In this way, the three overlord forces each occupied one of the outer planets. You guys should also set off. Dragon Boat Mountain instructed Lu Ming and the rest. Let's go to that planet first. Ouyang Qingxiang pointed at one of the blue planets. This planet was not the planet that the three overlord forces had entered. The others had no objections and all started flying toward it. The eyes of the people from the other sects flickered, and they also chose to fly down to the planet realm. Some sects chose to fly to the same planet. After all, the surface area of a planet was extremely large. Even if they landed on the same planet, they might not necessarily touch it. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang and the rest flew into the galaxy. There was nothing unusual. Originally, the Divine King experts would be blocked by the galaxy array at this distance. However, Lu Ming and the rest were not affected. It is indeed effective. The eyes of many god kings brightened. Seeing that there was nothing unusual, Lu Ming and the rest increased their speed and flew toward the blue planet like streaks of rainbow light. As they approached, the planet grew larger and larger in front of them. At the same time, they felt a strong gravitational force acting on them. What a strong gravitational force! Everyone's expression changed slightly. They could feel that the gravity of this planet was shockingly strong. Moreover, the closer they got to the planet, the more terrifying the gravity became. In the end, when they appeared tens of thousands of meters above the star system, the gravity was already shockingly strong. They had to constantly circulate their divine power to maintain flight in order to resist the gravity. Get down? Ouyang Xiangxiang took the lead and flew down. The others followed her and landed on the ground. Bang! Bang! In the end, they landed heavily on the ground, creating huge pits. What a hard ground! Everyone's heart jolted and they were very surprised. Chapter 2891 Separate Actions. Everyone found that the ground of this planet was extremely hard, like metal, not like ordinary rock at all. This place is covered by a large array all year round. That array can refine a star into a star core. Therefore, the planets surrounding the star are also affected. They are much smaller than other planets, but their density is also many times higher. The density of the objects on them is also many times higher. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming and the group nodded. They had also thought of this. In such an environment, this planet was naturally dead silent. There were no living creatures. Everywhere he looked, he could only see bare rocks that gave off a metallic luster. Moreover, these rocks were fiery red like pieces of rubies. Of course, these rocks would be treasures in the mortal world. However, they were of no use to Lu Ming and the rest. Although this planet is much smaller than the planets in the outside world, its surface area is still astonishingly large. I think it's better for us to split up so that it'll be easier to find the array plates. At this moment, the Supreme Holy Sun spoke coldly. That's right. I think so too. Supreme Universe, let's join forces. The Sacred Sun of Reflection said. Good, just what I want. The Supreme Holy Sun laughed. Bus. And NBSP whoosh. With a flash, the floating light Saint Sun, Jixia Saint Sun, Yenkong Saint Sun, and Xuetan Saint Daughter appeared beside the Supreme Saint Sun. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, let's have a competition and see who can get the array plate. The Supreme Saint sneered and then turned around to leave with the Drift Light Saint Sun and the others. Lu Ming did not stop them or say anything. The departure of the Supreme Holy Sun and the rest was exactly what Lu Ming wanted. He could not be bothered to move with them. Even if the other party didn't leave on their own, he would find an excuse to leave. Only Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were left at the scene. The two of them discussed for a while, then randomly chose a direction and ran along the ground. The ground here was made of fiery red rocks, some of which had already crystallized. They were extremely hard and not even a blade of grass grew on them. The two of them ran for tens of thousands of miles, but the situation was the same. They didn't find anything. The two of them were helpless and could only continue moving forward. They had no idea where the array plate was, so they could only try their luck in the dark. Just like that, a few hours passed and they still found nothing. There's something on the ground. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He felt a slight vibration from the ground. Bang! Just as Lu Ming finished his sentence, the rocks on the ground exploded with a bang. Then a fiery red light rushed toward Lu Ming. Boom. Lu Ming did not think. His divine power burst out and he threw a punch at the fiery red light. There was a loud explosion and the fiery red light was blown away. It hit the ground and created a huge pit. There are actually living beings here. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were both stunned. At this moment they could clearly see what the fiery red light was. It was a living creature that looked very similar to a pangolin. Its entire body was covered in a layer of fiery red armor, and on its 2 claws, there were 2 sharp, ice-cold claws. The pangolin squeaked and looked at Lu Ming with burning greed in its eyes. Flesh, flesh and blood, the pangolin shouted. With a sway of its body, it charged at Lu Ming again. Bang! Lu Ming threw another punch and the pangolin was sent flying. It crashed onto the ground but the pangolin shook its body and stood up. What a strong defensive power, Lu Ming's gaze flickered. He could tell that this pangolin was roughly at the first-level heavenly deity realm, but its defensive power was much stronger than other first-level heavenly deity realm creatures. An ordinary first-level celestial deity would have been torn to pieces by Lu Ming's punch. However, the pangolin seemed to be fine after being hit by Lu Ming's 2 punches. Flesh, flesh and blood, the pangolin let out a sharp cry and pounced at Lu Ming again. This time, a long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hands and he thrust it forward. The long spear pierced through the pangolin's mouth and pierced through it. This time the pangolin struggled a few times before it stopped moving. There was no sign of life left. Lu Ming waved his hand and kept the pangolin. The scales of this pangolin were extremely hard. If they were used to make armor, it would be difficult for anyone below the heavenly god realm to break through it. This was a good item. There are still living beings on this planet. How amazing. Ouyang Qingxiang also sighed. I'm guessing that it's the remaining living beings on this planet, Lu Ming said. He speculated that this planet must have had many living beings, but with the formation the star gradually died out, and the environment outside changed greatly. Many living beings went extinct or left this place. However, some creatures had extremely tenacious vitality. They might evolve with the changes in their environment and survive tenaciously, such as the pangolin. The appearance of the pangolin caused the 2 of them to raise their guard. Since the pangolin could exist, there might be more creatures. There might even be extremely terrifying creatures. They had to be careful. The 2 of them retracted their auras and continued to advance in the same direction. Not long after, they encountered another pangolin attack. However, its strength was similar to the previous one. The 2 of them used their full strength and easily killed it. There are living beings here. Perhaps they know where the array plate is. Suddenly, Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes lit up. That's right, why didn't I think of that? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. With this thought in mind, the 2 of them felt a fire burning in their hearts. They continued to move in this direction and sure enough, not long after, they encountered a few more pangolins. The 2 of them severely injured one of the pangolin creatures while killing the rest. Speak, do you know if there are any array plates here? Lu Ming stepped on the pangolin's body and looked down at it, asking coldly. Flesh, flesh and blood. The pangolin kept struggling and growling. It did not answer Lu Ming's question. This kind of living being seems to have very low intelligence. It only knows how to devour flesh and blood. Ouyang Xiangxiang frowned. It was obvious that there were no other living creatures on this planet. These pangolin creatures were very thirsty for flesh and blood. That was why they kept attacking Lu Ming and the rest. However, its spiritual intelligence was extremely low. Since spiritual intelligence is not enough, then it'll search your soul, Lu Ming said. Then he cast the soul-searching art and began to search his soul. Not long after, Lu Ming managed to obtain some useful information from the pangolin's soul. Chapter 2892 Fighting as Supreme. Once more the information contained in the pangolin's soul was very scattered. However, Lu Ming still managed to capture some useful information. In a certain location on this planet, there was a very strange place. Many pangolin creatures lived there. There must be something wrong with this abnormal situation. Perhaps there's an array plate in that place. Even if there's no array plate, there are other treasures. It's worth it to go. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. Lu Ming, have you found anything? Ouyang Qingxiang asked. We found something strange somewhere on this planet. Let's go take a look, Lu Ming said. At once, Lu Ming headed in a certain direction according to the information he obtained from the pangolin's soul. As they headed in this direction, they were constantly attacked by the pangolin creatures. The number of pangolin creatures seemed to have increased in this direction. Fortunately, the cultivation of these pangolin creatures wasn't very high. They were all at the first-level heavenly deity realm, and he didn't encounter any second-level heavenly deity. Although first-tier celestial deity realm cultivators had powerful defense, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang did not feel any pressure and continued to charge through. 2 days later they arrived at a hill. From a distance, the hills looked like giant red rubies embedded in the ground, shining with a brilliant light. From time to time, pangolin creatures could be seen crawling across the hills. According to the pangolin's memories, that special place was at the center of the hill. Boom, boom. At this moment, a series of rumbling sounds came from the depths of the hill. In the distance, one could see beams of divine light shooting up into the sky and breaking through the firmament. On the hill there was a huge battle. Who is it? Could it be Supreme Universe and the others? Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes flickered as she asked. It's very likely that the pangolin creatures have all gone inside. Let's go in, Lu Ming said. Within the hill, the pangolin creatures heard the commotion and ran towards the depths of the hill. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang restrained their auras to the extreme and quietly followed. Not long after they arrived at the depths of the hill. He saw 5 figures fighting with a group of pangolin creatures. It's them indeed. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang exchanged glances. The 5 who were fighting the pangolin were the Supreme Saint Sun and the Transient Light Saint Sun. There were a few hundred pangolin creatures that were constantly attacking the Supreme Holy Sun and the other 4. However, although there were many pangolin creatures, their cultivation wasn't high. Most of them were first-level heavenly deities, only a few were second-level heavenly deities. As for third-level heavenly deities, there wasn't a single one. The Supreme Holy Sun and the other 4 had the upper hand. They kept breaking out of the encirclement and rushed towards a hill. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes also swept over the hill, and their eyes suddenly lit up. There was an altar on the hill. It was not tall, only a meter or so. Runes were shining on the altar, and a bronze token was floating above it. An array plate. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's hearts skipped a beat. It was very likely that this was the array plate they were looking for. They didn't expect that there would really be an array plate here. Their luck was pretty good. One had to know that there were only 12 of these array plates. Charge. We must get this array plate. The Supreme Holy Sun roared. At this moment, he had already transformed into the body of the Supreme Guardian Deity. His body was huge and he kept punching out with both fists. Every punch could send a pangolin flying. Some even exploded. Even though the pangolin had a strong defense, it couldn't withstand the Supreme Holy Sun's full-powered attack. The floating light Saint Sun and the others followed the Supreme Saint Sun on both sides. They attacked continuously and quickly approached the altar. This array plate is mine. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled into a cold smile. Since he had encountered it, how could he let the Supreme Holy Sun and the others get it? Let's go. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang moved and rushed toward the altar. Most of the pangolin creatures were surrounding the Supreme Holy Sun and the rest. They did not notice Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang at all. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were unimpeded. Only a few pangolin creatures attacked them, but they were easily sent flying. They quickly approached the altar. Lu Ming, the Supreme Saint, also noticed the 2 of them and let out a furious roar. He was even more furious when he saw the 2 of them approaching the altar at a high speed. Don't even think about, the Supreme Holy Sun roared. He didn't care about his own defense and allowed the pangolin creatures to attack him. He rushed towards the altar in a frenzy. In this way his speed was indeed much faster. However, he was still slower than Lu Ming. Very soon, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were less than 1,000 meters away from the altar. At this moment they finally alerted most of the pangolin creatures. Many of them charged toward Lu Ming and Lin Feng. Song of the Green Lotus Sword, die. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted. With a wave of her hand, green lotus flowers appeared around her. Boundless sword chi burst forth, aiming for the pangolin's mouth and eyes. Immediately many pangolin creatures were killed. Ancient God Body. Lu Ming immediately used the Ancient God tactic. His body grew rapidly, turning into a green-armored ancient god that was more than 200 meters tall. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming waved his long spear and used army obliteration, sending more than 10 pangolin creatures flying. Lu Ming strode forward. In a few steps he was near the altar. Then the long spear vibrated and blasted the pangolin creatures away. He then stretched out a large hand and grabbed the array plate. Lu Ming, you dare! The Supreme Holy Sun roared in anger and tried to rush forward, but he was still a step too slow. Lu Ming grabbed the array plate. There was nothing unusual. Lu Ming held the array plate in his hand. Lu Ming, I found the array plate first. Hand it over. The Supreme Saint roared and finally rushed over, throwing a punch at Lu Ming. The dazzling fist radiance was like a golden sun, crushing toward Lu Ming with terrifying power. Lu Ming fired a shot with a backhand. Boom. Their attacks collided with each other, creating a deafening boom. Rings of energy spread out, sending many pangolin creatures flying. Bang. Bang. Their huge bodies swayed and they both took a few steps back. Don't you know that whoever sees it will have a share? Besides, you've only seen it and haven't obtained it yet. Why can't I do something? Lu Ming sneered in response. Then you'll die, Paragon Divine Fist. The Supreme Holy Sun roared and swung his fist at Lu Ming. Lu Ming put away the array plate and waved his long spear to kill the Supreme Holy Sun. Brr, brr, brr. During the battle, Lu Ming cast the Divine Dragon Phenomenon art. 3 huge 9-clawed divine dragons appeared in the sky and pounced toward the Supreme Holy Sun. Chapter 2894 Killing with a Borrowed Knife. Lu Ming and the Supreme Holy Sun were engaged in an intense battle. The two of them had just exchanged blows some time ago. At this moment, Lu Ming still had the upper hand. Lu Ming had used all his techniques. After exchanging more than a dozen moves, Lu Ming had the upper hand. The Supreme Holy Sun was no match for him and kept retreating. Quickly come and help me. The Supreme Holy Sun roared. Behind him, the Floating Light Saint Sun, the Wuxia Saint Sun, and the others also rushed up. Floating Light, your opponent is me, die. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted coldly and charged toward the Sacred Sun. Ouyang Qingxiang and the Sacred Sun of Reflection were both at the 5th level heavenly deity realm. The two of them were engaged in an intense battle. As for Saint Sun Wuxia, Saint Sun Yen Kong, and Saint Daughter Xuetan, their cultivations were much weaker. Just as they rushed toward Lu Ming, they were swept away by Lu Ming's spear and almost spat out blood. They could not interfere in the battle between Lu Ming and the Supreme Holy Sun. After a few more moves, the dragon claws of a 9-clawed divine dragon clawed on the Supreme Holy Sun's body, leaving a few deep wounds on his body. The Supreme Holy Sun roared and punched the 9-clawed divine dragon Dharma Laksana to pieces. However, Lu Ming had the measure formula. Divine power gushed into his body continuously. 3 9-clawed divine dragons were formed once again. There were still 9 ice chains. Once they were destroyed, Lu Ming would condense them again, not caring about the consumption of divine power. Damn it. Lu Ming, just you wait. The Supreme Holy Sun roared and turned to leave. He knew that it was impossible for him to snatch the array plate back now that Lu Ming had it. It would be disadvantageous for him if the battle continued. The Supreme Holy Sun turned and left. The Transient Light Holy Sun and the others didn't dare to continue fighting. They hurriedly followed the Supreme Holy Sun and ran away. They quickly broke out of the pangolin's encirclement and left this place. Lu Ming did not give chase. Although his combat strength could suppress the Supreme Saint Sun, defeating and killing were two completely different things. It was impossible for him to kill the Supreme Saint Sun with his current strength. We're leaving too, let's go, Lu Ming said to Ouyang Qingxiang. Then the two of them charged in another direction. After breaking out of the encirclement, they disappeared from this world. More than 100,000 miles away, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang found a place to rest. 2 days later, when the two of them had recovered to their peak condition, they continued their search on this planet. Unfortunately, they searched this planet for a full 7 to 8 days without finding anything. It seems like there's only one array plate on this planet. Let's go to other planets to take a look, Ouyang Qingxiang said. Alright, let's go to that planet. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and pointed to the sky. Above their heads, there was a fiery red planet floating in the air. This planet was closer to the star. Alright. Ouyang Qingxiang nodded. Immediately, the two of them shot into the sky and turned into 2 beams of light, flying toward the planet. Not long after Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang left, 5 figures appeared in a secret place not far away. They were the Supreme Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, and the others. What should we do now, Supreme Universe? The Sacred Sun of Reflection asked. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang must die. The Supreme Holy Sun gritted his teeth as his eyes flashed with a sinister light. I'm afraid we can't kill Lu Ming and the rest with our abilities. Holy Maiden Xuetan said. If we can't kill him, someone else can. Back in the land of the ancient god, Lu Ming killed the Holy Sons of the Unique Devil Academy and the Immortal Sword Sect. Both of these forces want to get rid of Lu Ming. The Supreme Holy Sun said coldly. You want to kill with a borrowed knife? The eyes of the Sacred Sun and the others lit up. That's right. Right now, Mo Jui and the others from the Unique Demon Academy are on that pitch-black planet. Let's go there and inform Lu Ming of his whereabouts. Moreover, Lu Ming has an array plate on him. I believe that Mo Jui will definitely take action. The Supreme Saint's son said with a murderous aura. He glanced at the Sacred Son of Reflection and the others and continued, as long as Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang are dead, the Kong Xian sect will still be mine. I promise that I will not mistreat you in the future. Rather than letting the Kong Xian sect fall into Lu Ming and Ouyang Xiangxiang's hands in the future, it's better to let you, the Supreme Universe, make the decision. Let's go, well go find Mo Jui and the others. The Sacred Son said. The five of them immediately flew toward the pitch-black planet where the Unique Devil Academy was located. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang did not spend much time and landed on the fiery red planet. The environment of this planet was even worse. This planet's gravity was stronger than the previous one, and the temperature was shockingly high. It was difficult for ordinary creatures to survive. After the two of them arrived on this planet, they started searching everywhere. This is red mist gold. Not long after, they found a few pieces of strange metal. Scarlet mist gold was an extremely rare material for forging weapons. It could be used to forge supreme-grade divine weapons used by god kings and was extremely precious. The two of them were overjoyed. What Dragon Boat Mountain said was right. In this galaxy there were indeed other treasures besides that array plate. This metal is also very useful to Qiuqiu. It will definitely be of great use to him if he swallows it. Lu Ming pondered. At the thought of this, Lu Ming looked at the bracelet that Qiuqiu had transformed into on his wrist. Ever since Qiuqiu had swallowed the bronze from the bronze altar in the ancient god world, it had been in a deep sleep. It still showed no signs of waking up. There were 2 pieces of crimson afterglow gold in total. Initially they were going to split it evenly. Lu Ming wanted to buy it from Ouyang Xiangxiang with divine crystals, but Ouyang Xiangxiang shook her head and gave the crimson afterglow gold to Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not stand on ceremony and kept it. After that, they continued to search the planet and found many precious metal materials. Ouyang Qingxiang knew that these metal materials were very useful to Lu Ming and gave them all to him. She only took some divine crystals as a token. While Lu Ming and the rest were searching the planet, the Supreme Saint and the Transient Light Saint had already found Mo Jui and the rest. Supreme Universe, you actually dare to take the initiative to find us. Aren't you afraid that it'll make a move and make you stay? Mo Jui sneered at the Supreme Holy Sun and the others, killing intent flashing in his eyes. The Supreme Saint's son, the Transient Light Saint's son, and the others' expressions changed slightly. However, they weren't ordinary people and quickly calmed down. Mo Jui were not a threat to you at all. The real threat to you is Lu Ming. The Supreme Saint said. Lu Ming? You think that kid is a threat to me? Mo Jui's eyes glinted coldly as he revealed a strong sense of confidence. That's right. Without a doubt, the divine power that Lu Ming controls is also divine-grade divine power. He has also mastered a few extremely terrifying secret skills. His combat power is astonishing. If his cultivation level increases, he might be able to fight you. Also, he already has an array plate. The Supreme Saint said. Chapter 2894 surrounded. Oh, there's an array plate? Mo Jui's eyes lit up and he looked at the Supreme Holy Sun with a faint smile. Supreme Universe, I know that you want to use me to get rid of Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming has repeatedly offended our unique demon academy and killed our Holy Sun. He deserves to die 1,000 times. Even if you don't say it, I will still kill him. We're not borrowing your power. We're working together to get rid of Lu Ming. The array plate will be yours. Well, each take what we need. The Supreme Saint said. Whatever. Tell me, where is Lu Ming? Mo Jui said indifferently. It's on that planet. The Supreme Holy Sun pointed at the fiery red planet in the sky and said. Alright, let's go to that planet then. A cold glint flashed in Mo Jui's eyes. He took the lead and soared into the sky, flying towards the planet where Lu Ming and the rest were. At the same time, the other experts from the Unique Devil Academy also followed Mo Jui. Lu Ming, let's see how you die this time. A cold glint flashed in the Supreme Holy Sun's eyes. Then he, the Drift Light Holy Sun, and the others followed the people from the Unique Devil Academy and rushed toward the planet where Lu Ming was. Not long after, Mo Jui, the Supreme Holy Sun, and the rest landed on the planet where Lu Ming was. However, they could not find him after looking around. Could Lu Ming and the rest have left this planet? A genius from the Unique Demon Academy said. I don't think so. They just arrived on this planet not long ago, so they'll definitely spend some time searching. It's just that this planet is very large, so we haven't encountered them yet. The Supreme Saint said. Then we'll split up. Four-eyed, you take a few people with you and move together with Universe Master and the others. I'll take a few people with me. Remember, once you encounter Lu Ming and the others, immediately send me a message in case he gets away, Mo ordered. Yes, once we meet Lu Ming, he won't be able to escape, Four-eyed Kong Ting said with confidence. The eyes of Universe Master flashed, but he didn't say anything. He knew that this was the best arrangement. The Four-Eye Void Courtyard's combat strength was not any weaker than his. If he joined forces with the Four-Eye Void Courtyard, he would not have to fear Lu Ming. Once Mo arrived, Lu Ming would be dead for sure. After the distribution, Mo brought the few heaven's favorites and left. Four-Eye Void Court and Supreme Universe took a group of people and set off from another direction. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang had no idea that the Supreme Holy Sun had joined forces with the Unique Demon Academy and had already arrived on this planet. They continued their search on this planet. This planet really didn't have any living beings. They could only search in the dark. One had to admit that they were really lucky. 2 days later, they found an altar in a canyon. Above the altar, there was a bronze array plate floating. There were only 12 array plates in total, and they actually saw one. This luck was indeed amazing. The two of them were overjoyed. Just as they were about to fly over and take the array plate, a few figures rushed over at an astonishing speed. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Lu Ming and the rest, blocking their way. Supreme Universe, it's you again. Four Eyes Void Court, why are you two together? Ouyang Xiangxiang's eyes suddenly changed after she looked around. Send a message to the Divine Child. At that moment, Four-Eye Void Court ordered one of the geniuses from the Unique Demon Academy to send a message to Mo. As for himself, his 4 eyes flickered with a cold light as he stared at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, let's see where you can run to this time. The Supreme Holy Sun's figure flashed and appeared behind Lu Ming and the others, blocking their path of retreat. Supreme Universe, you actually joined hands with the people from the Unique Devil Academy? To deal with the disciples of Kong Shen sect? Ouyang Qingxiang angrily shouted. Her face was ugly as she looked around. She was afraid that Mo would be nearby and that would be dangerous. However, she heaved a sigh of relief when she did not see Mo. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, it's your fault for being so stubborn and going against me. You deserve to die 1,000 times. The Supreme Holy Sun roared ferociously, then said to Four-Eyed Empty Court, Four Eyes Void Court, let's attack together and stall Lu Ming. There's no need for us to join forces to deal with a mere Lu Ming. Supreme Universe, I think you're becoming more and more useless. Let me do it. Four Eyes looked at the Supreme Holy Sun in disdain. He could clearly sense that Lu Ming's cultivation base was only at true God level. He did not believe that a true God level person could go against him. Boom. An NBSP die. Four-Eyed Kong Ting's body exuded a berserk energy, vast divine power surging out. He was a 6th level heavenly god with 4 eyes. He was the same as the Supreme Holy Sun, a 6th level heavenly god who could control the divine power. Kill. With a wave of his hand, Four-Eyed Void Court's fingers shot out beams of spear radiance. They were sharp and dazzling as they charged toward Lu Ming. Ancient God Tactic Space Breaking. In an instant, Lu Ming cast the Ancient God Tactic and transformed into the Ancient God Body. He continuously thrust the long spear in his hand and destroyed the spear radiance in the void. The body of the Ancient God. You've also cultivated the body of the Ancient God. The Four-Eyed Void Beast roared in disbelief. Its 4 eyes were filled with envy and jealousy. It turned into a stream of light and charged at Lu Ming. At the same time, his 4 eyes glowed. Then, terrifying beams of light burst out and shot towards Lu Ming. The power was extremely terrifying. Break the air, break the air. Lu Ming continuously cast the first move of the 3 apocalyptic strikes, shaking the long spear. In an instant, terrifying spear radiance shot out and blocked the Four-Eyed Void's attack. He's so strong. How is this possible? At this moment, the Four-Eyed Void was shocked. He finally knew why the Supreme Holy Sun had been defeated by Lu Ming. It was not because the Supreme Holy Sun was useless, but because Lu Ming was too abnormal. A dragon's roar rang out as Lu Ming cast the Divine Dragon Materialization Technique. He used all sorts of techniques to attack the Four-Eye Void. The Four-Eyed Void Court's combat strength was indeed very powerful. It was not weaker than the Supreme Universe. The attack that burst out from its four eyes was especially terrifying. Even Lu Ming was rather afraid. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged more than a dozen moves. The more they fought, the more shocked Four-Eye Void was. He felt that he was no match for Lu Ming. Supreme Universe attacked together. The Four-Eyes Void Court roared. I already told you that we're going to attack together. The Universe Supremacy mocked him. Then he transformed into the Supreme Guardian Deity and charged at Lu Ming. The two of them joined forces and Lu Ming was at a disadvantage. On the other side, the others charged toward Ouyang Qingxiang, putting her in a precarious situation. We can't stay here for long. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind and planned to leave first. Even Universe Master or Four-Eyed Void Court were no match for Lu Ming on their own. However, if the two of them joined forces, Lu Ming would be no match for them. At most, he could only protect himself. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.